Welcome to Oscar Sunday. I'm Austin Johnson,
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
and today we're talking about Harry Motherfucking Potter, specifically The Deathly Hallows Part 2 from 2011, the final film. Part 8 is what you could call it, I guess. It received 3 nominations at the 84th Academy Awards: Best Art Direction, Best Makeup, and Best Visual Effects. We're going to look at those categories later on in the episode. We're going to give our own awards out to Deathly Hallows Part 2, an incredible finale. It's rare sometimes that a franchise or a series or however you want to look at it sticks the landing the way Deathly Hallows Part 2 sticks the landing. Makes you laugh, makes you cry, all the above, and just gets you fucking amped up to watch some wizardry. So I had a blast. I watched all 8 films over the past week or so. So I haven't watched anything else except for basketball, because we're now in the playoffs. I've been watching basketball and Harry Potter. That's pretty much it. Every other, all their movies, sorry, I have to put on the back burner for now. So it feels good to kind of be here, just fresh off this rewatch. I hadn't watched the films since we did a Filmgazm episode. We called them Weird Shit Wednesdays, and we did an episode on kind of the entire series of films, which I think we both agree now at this point, a couple years later, that was a mistake. We both care a lot about these movies. We care a lot about the books and just kind of the world, the Hogwarts world. So we both didn't know exactly where to go with that episode, because we basically gave ourselves 2 hours to talk about all 8 films, everything that we love about them. And that's not enough. So we're going to hone in on Deathly Hallows Part 2. But I do want to do kind of a project that does shine a spotlight on the other films here and there. We're not gonna go into detail about Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, and the rest, but we're gonna spotlight some characters. So before we get into that project and I explain it, Connor, I wanted to hear from you, because I know this franchise means a lot to me, but I know it means a hell of a lot more to you, and you've been with it since you were a kid. So when exactly, if you had to give your best answer, when exactly did you fall in love with Harry Potter?
I've had Harry Potter in my life pretty much from the beginning. Harry Potter's how I learned to read.
Oh God, so special.
My mom had she bought the books when they came out in '97, and I had Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets, and she would read to me and I would read back to her, and that just became a thing, and that's how I learned how to read. So Harry Potter is just a significant part of my development as a human being. And then Sorcerer's Stone, the film, came out when I was 6. And I saw every single film in theaters. It was an event for my family. I remember waiting in line at Borders to get the 7th book when it came out. I was so excited. And
2007, yeah.
Oh, I was like, it's here. Like the ending, like the last book is here. And I went with my mom and dad to Borders. The clerk had to find a intact copy for me because people were going in and ripping the last chunk of pages out to find out the ending, which is really twisted. So I got the book and I read it in 3 days, and I was like, oh my God, it's amazing. And I was counting down the days to the movies. Like these were, for 10 years of my life, I was waiting for these films every year. It was a huge deal. I've never looked back. I've loved this franchise so much. All the books, the movies, it's everything to me. And that's why I'm so bummed about the Fantastic Beasts films kind of being pretty shitty, because I feel like it's, stripping away a bit of the legacy. But, we'll always have these films. We'll always have the books. These are eternally special to me.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get the Fantastic Beasts stuff out of the way. So, because I don't really want to bog down what we're about to do here throughout this episode. So yeah, I've seen the first 2. I don't plan on seeing this new one. I just don't really care anymore. I think they've completely dropped the ball. I think there's so many cool avenues they could go. They could do some kind of Voldemort prequel thing. They could do some kind of Severus Snape prequel thing. They could do, they could show Harry's parents fighting, back in the 70s. They could show Remus Lupin and Sirius Black and all these cool characters that we've all fallen in love with. And they could completely recast them with the younger characters and younger actors, and just kind of give fans what they want. Instead, they've given these kind of boring films, and now it's this trilogy that I just don't really think is going to last very long. It's not going to age well. They're just not nearly as good as what we had before. So I really just don't care, which is so sad, because these 8 films, these Harry Potter films, are really good. For me, every single one of them is 8, except for Prisoner of Azkaban is a 9. That's my favorite one. They're all just fucking good. There's not like really a weak link to me. I think they all have something to say. I would have no problem if someone said, Chamber of Secrets is my favorite, or Azkaban, or Deathly Hallows Part 2, or Order of the Phoenix. They all I get it. Every single film out of 8, that's a lot of movies, has an argument to be the best one, and that's really special. So yeah, let's get that Fantastic Beast shit out of the way. We don't need that here. This is about the first 8 and about the 7 books. My ride with them is so much different, and that's why I'm not as attached to them, because I did not see them as a kid. I did not read the books as a kid. I was not really a reader until I was in 8th or 9th grade. So I just didn't care really. And the only one I saw in theaters was Half-Blood Prince, and that's because I remember it vividly because I was like, that's kind of cool. It's 2009, so I was 14, and my cousins, we were at a family reunion in New Mexico, and my cousins were like, they had seen this film already. They're huge fans, and they're like, you guys should come with us to see it. Me and my 2 older brothers, and we went and saw it, and we were like, that was pretty cool, but we don't know what the fuck's going on because it's the fucking 6th movie. But at that time I knew who a lot of these actors were. I knew these faces, and I was like, okay, they take this seriously. These actors are really talented. From that one, Helena Bonham Carter is putting in a fucking clinic in that movie. Alan Rickman, of course, is incredible in that one. And Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and Emma Watson are awesome as they get older. So I was interested, but I still didn't go back and read the books or watch all the films. I just was like, that was kind of neat. And, saw in theaters, it looked really cool. And then years later, I was 20 years old. And my good friend, Kelly Gutierrez, who's probably the biggest Harry Potter fan I've ever met in my life. He's obsessed with him like you are, Connor, and he's got tattoos from the movie and stuff. He has one of those wands that looks way too realistic, and he made it a mission to sit down and watch all the films with me, and so we started with Philosopher's Stone. We moved our way through them, and I fell in love. I instantly fell in love. And then I was like, I want to read the books, so I bought them all at half price books. It was cost me a little bit of money, but I bought them all. They're still on my shelf. And it took me about a year to go through all of them. And I never really stopped. I never really put them down. I just breezed my way through them because while some of them are long, especially the last 4 books, they're hefty. They're so easy to read. And each chapter just and you just have to know. It's one of those cliffhanger. Every chapter you have to know what's going to happen next. Just brilliant writing from JK, and I fell in love. I fell in love with this world and these stories and these characters, and they've kind of stuck with me since. So I've only been really on a 7-year journey with the Harry Potter stuff, and I really dig it. And again, at my age of 20, Gary Oldman's my guy. So it was cool. It's cool to see him do something like this, or David Thewlis. It's really cool to see him do something like this. Alan Rickman, of course. There's some of these actors I'm fucking obsessed with. And so it had this different kind of hold on me where I wasn't so much about just the wizardry of it, all the magic and whatnot. It was more like, oh my God, I'm seeing these incredible British actors play these fucking, these outlandish, made up characters and they're so committed to it. So I just fell in love, and I love that we have completely different paths to finding Harry Potter and finding that love for it. But here we are doing this episode. Before we get into the Hall of Fame, I do want to go through these movies. We can do a lot of them on this show on Oscar Sunday. Deathly Hallows Part 2, like I said, has 3 nominations. The first film, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or the Sorcerer's Stone here in the United States, also has 3 nominations for Best Score, Best Costume Design, Best Art Direction. That's Mr. John Williams, just fucking lighting you up right at the beginning of the movie just to get ready to go. So I love that. That first one's great, dude.
I do love that they had to call it the Sorcerer's Stone in America because we're such a dumbass country. We don't know what philosopher means. So they're like,
Yeah.
just to not deal with that, we're going to call it Sorcerer's Stone over here. Yeah,
pretty great.
It's a great start. And, considering so much was riding on this film, I mean, Warner Brothers had high hopes, and J.K. Rowling stepped in to make sure nobody fucked with their vision, which I love that she was given so much creative control. And, the casting worked out, and it holds up. It's a nice whimsical adventure. And you can tell the start of something truly beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. I think this one's just. I was talking to my friend at work, and he said this is his favorite one is the first one. He said I just like the vibe of that one more than the others. He's like, they're all great. He's like, but there's something about that initial kind of culture shock where you get to platform 9 3/4, you get to Hogwarts. You see Hogwarts, you see the train, you see the school. You're with these incredible characters at this place. The dining hall is like that first time you get to it, you're like, oh my God, the Sorting Hat, all those things, that like kind of origin story aspect of it is so special. Yeah, I love that one. It's great. It's probably like in my bottom 2 or 3, but I still fucking love it. Chamber of Secrets didn't get any Oscar nominations. I think most people would say this is the weakest one, but damn, there's some great shit. This is when, of course, Tom Riddle's diary, that's the Horcrux that we don't know is a Horcrux yet, gets destroyed by the Basilisk Fang. So it's a really huge moment for the series and for the franchise that we don't quite know. And I really dig that. I think that's really good storytelling, is to kind of have this callback. And then in Deathly Hallows Part 2, you have Ron and Hermione go back down to the Chamber of Secrets, and it looks the exact same. And that's so special to kind of go back to that place. What, fucking 9 years later? Like, that's really neat.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about most of the films, almost every single one is somehow a mystery. It's a mystery story. You're like, who is after the Sorcerer's Stone? Who's petrifying students in the name of Salazar Slytherin? Who's hiding Sirius Black? Who rigged the Triwizard Tournament? Like, it's everyone has a mystery, a whodunit you're kind of trying to figure out along the way. And I think that's really cool. And Chamber of Secrets probably has my favorite one, which is like, who's doing this and why? And the fact that it's Voldemort's almost ghost that's behind all this is like, this is fucking awesome. Yeah, it's they're so special. It's like I've run out of words to describe these movies. Almost they're like a part of my DNA.
Yeah. That's such a good way of putting it. Where it's you just know it. You just know it, and when you're there, you're kind of wrapped up in a beautiful place. I find that whenever I watch any of the Harry Potters, I find myself on the internet finding out more stuff about it. Backstory, stuff from the past, things that maybe that were in the books that I kind of forgot about. And it just unfolds this fucking massive world that I could just get lost in all day. My personal favorite, Prisoner of Azkaban, was nominated for original score and visual effects. Fucking love that one. It's where all my favorite characters meet. I'm obsessed with Lupin, obsessed with Sirius Black. Obviously, Snape is the man. I'm a big fan of Pettigrew. I think Timothy Spall fucking destroys that shit, and I'm obsessed with that part of the film. You know, like the last 30 minutes, and I love when they have to use the time turner to go back. And it's also directed by the great Alfonso Cuarón, who is by far and away the most talented director works in this series. It's just so funny that he did one and was like, yeah, I'm good. That was fun. And he moves on and does Children of Men.
Azkaban represents one of the best tonal shifts in a franchise ever. It's you can tell it's very much in the same world, but something changed. And I love that. It's just a general vibe of like adolescence. Like we're growing up gradually. It's not a hard left. It's a gradual approach to becoming old enough to deal with much more darker shit. And I love that. It's not jarring. Like it's, it holds you by the hand until it needs to let you go. I also love that Cuarón was like the second choice. They offered it to Del Toro and he said, I'd rather do Hellboy. And then they offered him Half-Blood Prince and he said, no, thanks. I'd rather do Hellboy too.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But I think a Harry Potter film in Del Toro's world would be interesting to see.
I do too. I think Del Toro should be a guy who does some kind of, or he gets to really hone in on Voldemort and the wacky Death Eater stuff. I think he could knock that shit out of the park. Fucking love Azkaban. Always will think it's my favorite. Fourth one, I love Goblet of Fire. This movie's amazing. It was nominated for best art direction. This is where it takes that turn where it's like, okay, Voldemort's here. He's here. The famous scene of him coming back. Kill the Spare, and we see the Batman, and he gets killed. And then Harry goes back. They take the cup as like a port key. Him and Cedric. And he goes back and he's like, he's back. Voldemort's back. It's just like, I started crying when I watched it this last time. I was like, oh my God, dude. Fuck. It's just
that's the most
so
emotional,
intense.
Maybe the most emotional scene in the entire film. Just Amos being like, that's my son. Like, how does your heart not break? It's fucking crazy. Oh God.
It creates that divide in the wizarding world of no, he's not. No, he's not. You're all liars. And it's like, look how many people witnessed this, witnessed this guy who's dead. Like, what, did Harry kill him? It's just like so amazing the divide it creates.
I will never forget when I first read The Goblet of Fire because the movie hadn't come out yet. Like I read these before the films came out. So I was not expecting Voldemort to show up at the end of the book. And I was like, fuck, like what's going to happen next? Like I had to wait for Order of the Phoenix. So I was like, oh my God.
Oh man. So boy. Intense. Order of the Phoenix. I love this one. This is my second favorite. It has my favorite moment of the entire series when Dumbledore and Voldemort go head to head, and it's like, holy shit. Because you see so much intense shit, right? Of course we start hearing about Sirius Black, in the third one he's very, very prevalent. We see him a bit in the fourth one, and then the fifth one, Harry witnesses him vanish. He passes away. So you have Bellatrix running out, I killed Sirius Black. And then Harry's like, no, you fucking didn't, like he's just so angry because that's the last family he has left. And then you have Dumbledore who's like, fucking back down. I got this, and it's such like a epic, I'm getting chills talking about it. It's such an epic moment that franchises just need. They thrive on these moments of showdowns like that. And of course we get another showdown later on between Harry and Voldemort, but there's something about Dumbledore and Voldemort, the history behind them too, that runs deeper and means more to fans who kind of attach to that history. The history of Dumbledore seeking out, Tom Riddle as an orphan and seeking him out as a student and knowing that there's evil, that there's dark that lies within. And when he breaks all the glass and, Dumbledore, it all starts, going into little bits. Like that's just such an epic moment. No Oscar nominations. I hate that. I think Order of the Phoenix gets like a weird rap because it's a lot of Umbridge, right? It's a lot of Dolores Umbridge and it's a lot of politics. I love that about it. I think it's so cool that this book and this movie, they go into that stuff. They go into, there are parents out there who are fucking nuts, just like there's parents now in our real world who are crazy about their kids and where they go to school and how intense it is. I love that stuff. And you have the Dumbledore's army scenes where Harry's teaching everybody defense against the dark arts. Fuck yeah, that's so cool.
Order of the Phoenix is a great movie, but it's like 40% of the book, which is what bothered a lot of people.
I get that. I understand. Same with Half-Blood, right?
Yeah, those two really got sliced up. Especially like Ginny's whole arc got completely erased, which is a bummer. But Order of the Phoenix, the film, is so particularly dark because it's Harry against the world. It's like he's never felt more alone. Even he doesn't even fully trust his friends to have his back. Like it's rough, and it's rough seeing him like that. And God, that fight with Dumbledore just showing up. I love that people won't even like, they call Voldemort, you know who, or he who must not be named. Only like people with really strong hearts will call him Voldemort, but never to his face. Dumbledore straight up calls him Tom.
Yeah. Like so badass.
Straight to his face. Like, I don't care what you call yourself. You're still that little boy who's stealing shit from the orphanage. And I'm going to show you who's your daddy. Like it's some cool shit.
Yeah. It's some Gandalf shit, it's just like, fuck you, I am powerful. Like, it's so badass. Yeah, I love that one. Half-Blood Prince was nominated for best cinematography. That's it. It's the only cinematography nomination that these films get, which I thought was interesting because I think it's a very strong point in a lot of these movies. So it was cool to see that I got a shout out there. Bruno Delbana. That's a strong point in that film. I love Half-Blood. I understand, that it is so much different than the book in some ways and takes a lot of liberties, but Christ almighty, it's got some wicked shit. And of course, Dumbledore dying is just such a crucial part of the movie. And it's where Snape is like playing double agent, and Dumbledore knows, he's like, no, I know what's going on. Ultimately, this is going to help in the end. And you're just kind of fooled as a viewer. And that's like such a beautiful thing. This is also where we get a lot of the Death Eater stuff, where we finally see, we see more of Draco's parents, and we see Bellatrix a lot. So I'm all for that. I love watching those really dark characters just fucking get down.
I do appreciate that they got the finer points right. Dumbledore's death was handled very well. Another like just moment I'll never forget, reading Half-Blood Prince and just feeling the weight of Snape's betrayal. Because at that point you're like, oh, he's a dick, but he's on the right side. And then it's like, oh no, he's been playing everybody. He's the real bad guy. You son of a bitch. And you feel that. And I just, I wish the Half-Blood Prince reveal had been done better. That was, wasn't relevant to the film's plot as it was to the book. But it's great. I love laying out the Horcrux plan. Like, this is how we kill him. And then Harry having to be like, well, it's time for a quest. Revving up the seventh book or seventh movie. And yeah, it's great. I love Jim Broadbent as Slughorn. Man. He's the best.
Slughorn's great, dude. Like, what a great addition. I love that at the beginning when they go to his house and he's the armchair, and who's this fucker, and he's great. Yeah, he knocks that shit out of the park. I really dig Half-Blood. This is the only one I saw in theaters, and I've always thought it's one of the more boring ones. And then I, you look deeper and you're like, well, this one's got a lot of really crucial moments in the story turning, like you said, the Horcrux thing. Well, and you have our three main characters at the end. They're like, we can't go back to school. We got to like kill this fucker. And they decide that. And it's such a beautiful shot at the end of the movie when it's them three and kind of the sunset right where Dumbledore died. And it's just beautiful, beautifully dark. And I love it. Deathly Hallows Part 1. This one I think requires some taste. I think it's a slow burner. It's the most kind of character driven one because we are really with Harry, Ron, and Hermione the entire film. We don't get a lot of crazy, set pieces. We get the friendship stuff. This is where friendship is on display the most, and you feel the tension, and then you feel the love, of course, towards the end when Ron leaves and then comes back. This is nominated for best visual effects and art direction. Pretty normal stuff for Harry Potter to be getting. I love Deathly Hallows Part 1. I love it. I think it's got one of my favorite bits from the whole franchise is the animated bit of the Deathly Hallows at the end. I think that's such a powerful moment in explaining what we're doing and where we're going as viewers. Not treating you like an idiot, but just giving you kind of this story, this riddle type thing, or to figure it out. And even Harry is confused, and I love that about it. I think it's one that people either kind of go one way or the other. Some people are like, nah, this one's, come on, what are we doing? Too much character development. It's too boring. I definitely lean the other way, where I think this one's really special.
Around this time that this really stops being a kid's movie. Like this is a dark, like you said, character driven thriller. It's, there's times you wonder, like, they're going to fail. Like, how do they defeat this thing? Like, how do they do this? And like their friendship starts fracturing over this like lack of a plan. And you really start to feel for Harry and just realizing like he never wanted any of this. Like he's fulfilling somebody else's destiny. And there's moments in this movie that are just so dark. Like the whole, snake in the old lady shit. Like that was terrifying.
Yeah.
I love the attack on, or the raid on the Ministry when they dress up as the three people and have to get Umbridge's necklace. Good. I love Dobby's return.
Oh man, Dobby's return. Oh, that's such a special moment.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm so glad they split the final book into two movies because it needed to be done. It was so much was crucial to the story. They didn't want to leave anything out. I appreciated that. I don't think Hunger Games had to do it. I don't think Twilight had to do it. And I don't think Divergent had to do it, but Harry Potter had to do it.
Yeah, all of those movies are second fiddle to Harry Potter. I think Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood probably require splitting of them in two, which is why people are like, holy shit, you left all this stuff out. But it's like, oh, we can't have 10 movies. They could have, though. I mean, why not? They added 3 more not so great ones lately, so I would have loved. They
nearly did it to Goblet of Fire. They were this close. They're like, it's too big. We don't want to leave too much out. Why don't we just make 2 movies? And I don't remember who kiboshed that, but somebody was like, no. Like, might have been J.K. Rowling. She's like, let's not do that.
Yeah, I get it, because if you say Goblet of Fire is split into Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood, that's 3 more movies. It would have been 2012, 13, 14, 2015 by the time it's done. And everyone gets older and looks older, and you start to lose that touch. I think 10 years is such a beautiful window to kind of finish what you started. So I get it. I get those decisions. It sucks that some fans don't feel like they were complete, Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood. So, but I still love them. They're great movies.
Yeah, they're still good movies. And if you want more, read the book.
Yeah. Exactly. They're right there. They're like so easy to find. They're some of the most popular books in existence. So, yeah. Of course, the last film, Deathly Hallows Part 2, the one we're going to be talking about later. So I just want to kind of go through all those, talk about the nominations that got, kind of give a brief, little praise, little respect. So let's dig into this project. So you and I did fucking Coco not too long ago. And we did this really fun project called the Pixar Character Hall of Fame. That's one of my favorite things we've ever done on any of our episodes. I thought it was just really neat. It was a blast to kind of go through the filmography of Pixar and go through our favorite characters. Why not do the same thing with Harry Potter? Now, because there's 8 films, I don't want to do only 8. That's fucked up. We'll lose space really quickly. Because with Pixar, we did 24 because there's 24 movies, right? With Turning Red, there's 25. Turning Red, amazing stuff, by the way. I'd love to talk about that one, years from now. And, I hope it gets an Oscar nomination. That'd be great. But with Pixar, we did 24. So we did 24 characters. With this, I want to just go ahead and times it by 2. So instead of 8 characters, let's do 16. I have a pool that I've cut down to, I believe, 21 characters. Very difficult. Very, very, very difficult. I forget how many of them I just really, really dig. Whether it's, Harry, who's on the screen for the whole fucking time, to, someone like Dobby, right? I really dig a lot of characters. So I had a hard time. At first I had it, I think, at 30 something, 34, 35. And then I cut it down to 21. And I figured you and I could kind of bounce off characters. How many do you have?
I didn't count. I just kept writing them down as I watched them. I've got just not a lot. I mean, I'm definitely under 30. So
okay, well, that's good. Yeah.
I went with just first appearances and characters I like, not necessarily character significance to the plot or character significance to the like. I went with just, do I like this guy?
Yeah, I think this Hall of Fame, it's ours. It belongs to Oscar Sunday. It belongs to Austin and Colin. So, with that being said, the Harry Potter Character Hall of Fame has to start off with Harry Potter.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, he's the fucking man. And you know what? I love him. I love Daniel Radcliffe. I love what Daniel Radcliffe has done since then. I think he's completely changed the way people look at him. Movie fans, he's always going to be Harry, of course, but he's done some weird ass movies, from shit like Swiss Army Man. The fuck? That's completely different from what we're used to. And he's, worked on the stage a bunch. So I really like what Daniel Radcliffe has done with his career. I think he's a damn good actor in this series. He grows as the movies grow. He gets better and better. There's a moment in Chamber of Secrets where you're like, uh-oh, is this our guy? It's when the Phoenix at the end basically rescues him, and he says, "Of course, Phoenix tears have healing powers." It's not well delivered. It's kind of corny, and you're like, "Uh-oh, is this our guy? Is this our guy for 8 movies?" And then he picks it up. He gets better and better and better. By Deathly Hallows Part 2, this is our guy. He is the fucking chosen one, and I believe it. So I think Harry Potter has to be the first guy we talk about.
See, to me, Chamber of Secrets is the one where I'm like, okay, he's got chops. And it's ones, I agree with you on that scene. That scene's like, oh, Jesus, was that the first take? Oh my God. But
right. Yeah. It's like, surely did he not eat lunch that day? Yeah. What's going on?
We're running out of film, Dan. Just say it. We'll move on. It's at the end, and it was an improvised line from Jason Isaacs. He looks in Harry's direction and he says, let us hope that Mr. Potter will always be around to save the day. And Harry looks right at him and says, "Don't worry, I will be." It's like, oh,
ooh,
fuck. This is our hero right here.
Ooh.
Already you're, improvising with Jason Isaacs, at 12 years old. I can get behind this guy.
Jason Isaacs. Jesus Christ. We might be talking about him.
We're going to be talking.
Okay, good. So do you want to go ahead and pencil in Harry, Ron, and Hermione?
Yeah, the trio is
okay.
Yeah, you need all 3 of them.
Let's talk about Rupert Grint. So obviously he hasn't really done anything acting wise. It's very interesting to hear him talk about his experience compared to someone like Daniel Radcliffe or Emma Watson. But I fucking love Ron. I love his humor. I love his weird run through the movies as he's kind of this bumbling fool. And then once we get to the last 2 films, he's making these huge executive decisions that really at some points save the day. Without Ron, Harry's fucked.
Well, Ron, he has the most to lose. He's got a huge family. He's got a lot invested in this fight. And I think people forget about that. But Ron's the heart of the group, Hermione's the brains, and Harry's the strength. That's kind of how I've always seen it.
Yeah.
And Ron, while he doesn't really do much, he's not the greatest friend at times. In the end, he comes through. He always comes through. And
beautiful.
Yeah, we need that. We need him. And Hermione is, they'd be so fucked without her. Like from day one, they would be dead without her.
Yeah, she's really the most talented. She's the smartest one, obviously. She's the one who knows how to do spells the best. She knows all of her potions. She knows all that stuff. She's a fucking witch. She's an incredibly powerful. She reminds me of the Scarlet Witch at times, where it's like she doesn't quite know how powerful she is. You're like, God, Hermione, you can do some damage, dude. Like, and Emma Watson, she might be the best of the three main actors. She is so talented, and has put together a pretty cool run since then. She immediately does, Perks of Being a Wallflower, just completely does a movie completely different from what she was used to. Plays an American character from I believe Pittsburgh is where they live in that movie, and so she has the accent and everything. And I think she wanted to change people's perspective on her really quickly, so that she doesn't get just typecast as Hermione. And I love that she's done that. She hasn't really stopped since. I really, really like Emma Watson, and I think there was no one else who could have played Hermione from the first movie. She shows like this is our girl, right when we meet her with her kind of like wild hair. It's like real curly and crazy, and she's just kind of fucking talking shit to Harry and Ron, and you're like, that's Hermione,
Yeah. Well, they had to, Harry had to learn to manage his newfound fame. Hermione had to learn to not treat people like idiots, and Ron had to learn to not be such a dick.
Yeah, such fucking douche. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I think those three are always going to be they're the trio. They have to be here. Now we have 13 spots left. Where do we go from here, my man? I'm going to let you kind of drive this thing. I obviously have my favorites, and I know you do too, but who do you think is kind of the next in line? Who belongs?
I think from there we've got to go to Dumbledore.
That's who I have. Yep, that's who I have down next.
Yeah. I think we should go, in theatrical appearance order.
Okay, perfect. That's how I have them too. Okay.
Dumbledore is an interesting situation because it's one of the few times where they had to recast a major character due to Richard Harris' unfortunate passing in 2002. But I don't know how they pulled it off, but the transition to Michael Gambon is so fucking seamless that you don't even really notice. It's weird. Like, it's just, they both inhabit Dumbledore so perfectly that you just see the character. I to this day don't understand how that, like, nobody really complained or like said anything about it. It was just like, okay, he's Dumbledore now.
It's the greatest recasting in cinematic history. I mean, this doesn't happen. This is so rare for something with this kind of IP, with these kinds of fans who are obsessed and will notice things if you change them.
Yeah.
Think about some of the stuff they did in Game of Thrones. There were some recasts there where they looked completely different, and you're like, wait, what? That's Dario? No, it's not. And with this, when I first watched the films, I was like, wait a minute, is that a different guy? I was 20. I was 20 years old. And I was like, is that it? That's a different motherfucker, And I had no idea about all that. I know this is unpopular, but I think it ended up being a recast that worked out. I think Harris is the fucking man, but Jesus Christ, there's some stuff late in the later films, especially Half-Blood, when we're in the seaside cave, where you're like, I don't know who else could do this. And I know it's hard to kind of do that because Harris passed away, and if he would have been able to do it, he would have done it. But man, they did such a good job of finding the right guy to fill those shoes, and maybe even take the character to another level.
Well, Dumbledore, becomes a much more physical character the later we get into the movies. He's doing duels, and he's involved much more in the main story. And yeah, I think Michael Gambon just inhabits that side of the character. And also he becomes a much more duplicitous, almost evil character in ways. Like, he's manipulating a child because he knows one day this child has to die. And I mean, there's a warm grandfather side to Dumbledore, but there's this dark wizard in waiting that we meet from time to time. And I love the kind of two-faced nature of Dumbledore that only really slightly gets explored in the movies, but it's all over the books. So I feel like it took, losing the man he loved to put him on this path of, I'm not going to be a dark wizard. Like I could burn this shit down right now, but I won't do it because I've seen what I could become with Grindelwald. And I'm sad we're never going to probably see that happen because the movies are going to fucking fail. But the story's there in the beginning. Like in the first book, they mention Grindelwald and Dumbledore's fight with him, like in Sorcerer's Stone. Like she had this shit planned out.
Yeah.
It's so neat. But yeah, Dumbledore needs to be here.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, fucking love Albus. I love that his son is named, Albus Severus Potter. It's just so fucking neat, to name your kid after those two is pretty special. God, I love Dumbledore. I love his my favorite moments are of course when he takes over and starts fighting Voldemort in Order of the Phoenix. But that moment in the cave in Half-Blood Prince when he's like, I thought of a weird movie comparison when I was watching that. When he's drinking and he's like, do not let me stop drinking this, no matter what. If you have to force it down my throat. I thought of Philip Seymour Hoffman in Owning Mahoney when he's like, don't let me fucking spend another dime. And he's like, hey, I need my money. It's just this immediate turnaround of like, I'm doing exactly what I told you. You got to stop me from doing. And Albus in that moment, Albus and Harry have this moment of like, oh my God, like Harry becomes a fucking man right there, and it's so huge. Yeah, Dumbledore is fucking fascinating, and I really wish they could nail that shit with a prequel of him or whatever we get. I wish they would nail that, and they're just not. So that's really frustrating. I feel like he deserves like a mini series on HBO Max of some sort. Just completely revamp all that shit.
Yeah, you know what? That'd be an interesting direction to take the Harry Potter property.
It's the way to go. Yeah.
Somebody will pitch that. Somebody with clout will pitch that.
Whenever I was talking to you and I was like, oh yeah, Warner Brothers, they still have that's their property, and it's one of their most, well-known, series of, franchise or series, whatever. I feel like if we could just get kind of like what Disney's doing with their characters, Loki and all that stuff, if we could get like 6 or 8 episodes about Severus in high school, we'll take it. The fans will take it. And HBO Max could be like, okay, Disney Plus, we see you, and we're gonna fucking raise you. I've always wondered what's going on there. Is there something going on where they're like behind the scenes that we don't know about? Because you have fucking 50 characters that could have, Arthur Weasley. Watching him go through, the Ministry of Magic and talk about Muggles. I'll watch 6 episodes of him, just kind of studying what he loves, and kind of, tell me, Harry, what is the function of a rubber duck? I could watch that all day. So I think they have endless stuff. They just don't know where to go. So Albus Dumbledore is number 4 in our Hall of Fame. Who's next?
Snape.
Fuck yes. I have him 6th. I have Hagrid 5th. So I don't know if you have Hagrid in there. I don't know if he's someone you
Do I have Hagrid? Yes, I have Hagrid.
I figured because Hagrid shows up, very early on. He's really, he's at the very beginning of the film, and then of course we see him when he goes to the Dursleys. We see him basically kidnap Harry, and it's like, no, we're going to fucking Hogwarts, buddy. So I wondered if you had. Yeah, okay, we're going to talk about Hagrid soon. Snape is the definition of a shoe.
His character is so perfect. It's weird. It's the perfect amount of like, something's not right about this guy, but we've been told he's a good guy, so you just roll with it. But the more bad shit he starts doing, the more you start thinking like, somebody's lying to me. And in the end, he was a hero. But as I said earlier tonight to my family when we were watching Deathly Hallows too. I said, just because you're a hero doesn't mean you're not a dick.
100%. Yeah.
It's weird that Snape's whole character is this loyalty to Harry's mom, this love that was unrequited, and he never got over it. It's creepy the more you think about it. And
it's very creepy. Yeah.
The best way to honor her memory is to like abuse her son for 7 years. That's pretty fucked up.
You got some shit to work out, my man. Yeah.
Literally like terrorizing students to the point where like the scariest thing Neville can imagine is you. I mean, Dumbledore should have like Hogwarts does not have an HR department and it needs one. But
I like that.
But Alan Rickman brings this smarm and this like don't fuck with me attitude to the character that he has the second you see him in Sorcerer's Stone, when he's just like no one waved their wands in this class. I'm going to teach you kids how to change the world. And it's like, oh boy, I believe him.
Yeah. He has the quickest what's the word? He comes in guns a-blazing and doesn't stop the entire time. Alan Rickman might be the best overall performance of the entire series. He doesn't let up. He never takes his foot off the gas, you know. While we have, you know, some kids who are acting here, Alan Rickman is like fucking on it the entire time. And his voice, there's nothing like Alan Rickman's voice when he wants to take it there, that monotone, you know, back off, Harry Potter. He just has this way of just holding you. And oh man, sometimes I think he's my favorite character in the whole thing. He's right up there. He's definitely my top 5.
I think my favorite Snape moment is so brief, but it's such a great exchange of dialogue. It's in Goblet of Fire when he's looking through his stores because Gillyweed went missing, and Harry walks right past him. And he just goes, "Potter, what's your hurry?"
Yeah.
Like draws him in with just his voice. It's great. But I think the reason, you know, Rickman was so like a head above everybody else is because he was the only person on set who knew the whole story, which is really cool. J.K. Rowling told him everything about Snape, like that he was not really a traitor, that he's going to kill Dumbledore, that he's actually a good guy, that he loved Harry's mom, all of that on the Sorcerer's Stone set, so that it would help his performance gradually over the course of the films. Nobody else got that treatment, just him.
Yeah, I mean, who would you look in the eye and be like, I think I'm going to tell that guy stuff? He demands it from you. He's, you know, Alan Rickman, rest in peace. You know, just a freak of nature type actor. You know, of course, you can't talk about Alan Rickman without talking about Die Hard. You know, he's a hero. He really is a hero. And Snape is the character it's his legacy. It's what people know the most. You know, Severus Snape is this Slytherin guy, this guy who always wants to be the difference against the dark arts teacher, and never quite gets it. And then at the end, he's the fucking headmaster, and then his death is like, oh my god, you know, it's so brutal. Death by giant snake is definitely not something I want for anyone I know. He's so fucking amazing. You could talk about him forever. This is the one where it's like, okay, why are we not making stuff about Snape? This is the character everybody loves. This is the one where you can kind of go to like weird dark places where he fucks with the dark magic, but he also has this strange adoration and love for Lily. There's so much there. I would kill for a TV show of him from, and I don't even really like TV, but I would watch the shit out of a Snape show from, you know, whatever, year 4 to year 7. You know, I would eat that up. He's the man.
I would love an episode or a series, you know, of Snape proving himself to Voldemort, becoming part of his inner circle, because that's not easy. I would love. He's not just a Death Eater. He's like Voldemort's most trusted Death Eater.
Yeah. He's. Well, I think Voldemort knows that Snape is, because of his connections and because of his ability to just fucking like look people dead in the eye and give them what they want, lie to them, whatever it is. I think he knows he's the most dangerous of all of his, I think Bellatrix is the most like, I'll do anything you say, Dark Lord.
Yeah, she's his rabid dog. Like,
yeah,
straight up.
But Snape is his strongest ally. Is the guy who could really do some fucking damage, and he knows that. There's a reason he fucking talks a lot of shit to Malfoy, to Lucius, and not Severus. He's just like, you're a fucking bitch, Lucius.
I love that scene of Deathly Hallows. Like to Lucius, he's like breaking his wand in front of him, being like, you're a failure. But to Snape, he's like, oh, I thought you got lost. Take a seat.
Yeah. I love those little bits of character development where Voldemort's just like, Snape could probably like fight me, but Lucius, you're a fucking bitch. Like you just do anything I say. Your hair is all askew. You've got fucking 5 o'clock shadow by the time the movies are coming to a close because you've lost it. You've lost everything.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So
Snape
good.
Snape forgiven.
Yeah. Obviously, we could talk about him all day. Number 6.
From there, let's go to Hagrid.
All right, perfect.
The only adult
Hagrid.
Like the only adult who wasn't related to Harry who loved him unconditionally. Like
right
he
away.
Didn't care about his fame. He didn't care about his fortune. He didn't care that he was an asset. He just saw this little boy who needed a friend. And that makes him super special.
Yeah, God, I love Hagrid. I've always wanted a Hagrid hug, this giant like 8-foot monster. I just want to hug. And an unlikely great performance from Coltrane. He's kind of playing with people that are a little bit above him. His resume, his filmography. But damn, he's fucking batting with everybody. If Alan Rickman's batting average is 1,000, I'd say Coltrane's is like 800. He's right there. He's not quite as good, but damn, that guy can act in these movies.
You ever heard his natural speaking voice?
Yes. What the fuck?
Super deep Scottish.
Yeah.
Like the stuff he's doing vocally for Hagrid is peak performance.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Yeah, I watched an interview with him and I was like, wait, huh? I couldn't believe it. And he was clean shaven in the interview and he had shorter hair, and I was like, this is just fucking wild.
Yeah. His relationship with the 3 leads is perfect. I love them kind of conning information out of him constantly, and him not really realizing it until it's too late. Like, I probably shouldn't have said that to these kids.
Yeah.
And then go ahead.
I love his adoration for creatures, for Buckbeak. Yeah, it's so good.
I love that he's like showing off the dragons. Like, look at these creatures. He's like the fucking Scottish crocodile hunter. It's awesome. Look at that. That's the Hungarian horntail right there. I'm gonna touch it.
So good.
He's great. I love that he doesn't have an agenda, and he was betrayed as a child. Voldemort fucked up his life first. Got him, expelled, made him lose his wand. And I hope that after the events of Chamber of Secrets were revealed that like Hagrid was innocent, I hope he got a wand. Like he got his wand back. He got to go back to school or something.
Yeah, fuck, man. In Chamber of Secrets, you just want to fucking knock Tom Riddle's fucking teeth out in that moment. You're like, how could you fuck with Hagrid? I love when Hagrid's like, I think it's pretty sure it's in Half-Blood Prince when he's like, spiders, misunderstood creatures they are. And Slughorn's like, do you think I could have a bit of his hair? It's very, it's very rare. And he's like, sometimes when I'm watching these movies, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It's so outlandish and so ridiculous. And Hagrid fits right into that mold, of what the fuck? This is so fun. It's just such a blast to be in this ridiculous world.
Yeah, it's awesome. My only like one of the few scenes I wish they'd kept in Deathly Hallows Part 2, and I think I'm remembering this right. In the books, I think Hagrid is like leading an army of giant spiders. like
Man,
against
yeah.
Voldemort. Like he just comes out of
Yeah.
the woods with like, Aragog's kids, and it's like, kill, which is fucking awesome. Yeah, I love Hagrid. He's the perfect like, friend to Harry before he, it's just great. He's great.
Yeah, he's really essential too, just for humor, for that kind of connection as a fan, as just a human who you can feel Hagrid's human emotions throughout the film. So yeah, he's wonderful. So that's our number 6. Where are we going to next? Now the floodgates kind of open. This is tough.
I think we got to go Professor McGonagall.
Minerva, let's go.
Maggie Smith is an international treasure, and she did not need to commit as hard as she did with these movies. This could have been a phoned in, paycheck performance. I mean, in the last movie, she had some condition that was debilitating, but she insisted that she be in this finale. She was like, I've been in all the other movies. I'm going to see this through. And that's great. I think, my favorite moment of hers is in the final movie when she steps in front of Harry and duels Snape.
Oh,
boy.
Oh, when Harry looks at her and she's like, "What do you need?" And he's like, "Time, as much as I can get." She's like, "That I can do," and she goes, "By the way, good to see you, Harry." It's like, oh, it's fucking good. or when she does that spell and all the what are those things called? Those like giant knights come down, and she's like, "I've always wanted to do that spell."
One of my favorite random moments of hers is in Half-Blood Prince when Harry and Ron are just like hanging out between classes, like laughing at people. And she's like, "Don't you think you would want to take an extra potions class, Harry? And by the way, take Weasley with you. It looks far too happy up there."
Yeah. Yeah, she's great because she's the person who's there for so much of what happens with our 3 main characters. And I love when she's like, "Why is it when something happens, it's always you 3?" Yeah, she's incredible. Maggie Smith is a god.
Well, also, when the first one came out, she was a big get for this to add some some serious legitimate British talent to this 2-time Academy Award winning, Dame Maggie Smith.
Yeah.
Like, suddenly this was serious.
Yeah, this is a big deal for sure. She is big time. I think so far, we've talked about Alan Rickman, but Maggie Smith is in a league of her own. So, she's the best. I think the best actress we've talked about so far. Best performer we've talked about. She's just put together such an incredible resume. So, love that. She's number 7. I love her name. I love the way she just operates at Hogwarts, and she's someone that I feel like if I was at school, I would need someone kind of like that. Who's a little bit harsh, but also just so understanding in times of need.
Well, I mean, sending Harry the broomstick in the first movie, like knowing, he didn't have one, and she wanted him to, win, but also to get mail.
Yeah.
Just everyone just looking out for the lonely kid.
Yeah, the chosen one. Yeah, so good. All right. I had some names written down in between there.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel about them, so I'll go ahead and name them. They're all. I have. Well, I'll just go ahead and say them. I have Draco Malfoy written down in there. Tough. Okay. Yeah, he's tough. I don't know if he makes the cut.
Ooh, you just heard a lot of preteen girls who love that blonde hair.
Yeah, I know. It's getting tight here. We've already done 7. We have 9 left. Like, how do we fit him in?
Malfoy's an interesting character. I feel like he didn't get the full arc that I think we all wanted, where he becomes a good guy. I think we were all kind of hoping that would happen, and we kind of get to the line, but he never makes the full leap, which is fine. Be a little dishonest to the character, I guess. But beyond just smarmy rich dick, there's not a lot of substance to this guy.
Yeah, and I think what we're doing here is not a Hall of Fame of the books. We're doing a Hall of Fame of the movies and the performances. We're talking a lot about the actors and the actresses who portray these characters. And I'm not sure. I think he's a maybe. I think we can maybe come back to him
Okay.
but I don't know. I also have Ginny Weasley written down.
Not in the movies. No.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's a pass. I also have Fred and George Weasley written down.
I think we should
love those guys.
Considering they're in, you know, a unit. I think that should be one slot as Fred and George.
Okay, I can dig that. Yeah, I mean they're literally attached at the hip.
Yeah.
And then I have their dad, Arthur, written down there as well. Not sure how you feel about Arthur, but he is my guy.
I love both of the Weasley parents, and I want them both there.
Okay. So we have Molly and Arthur.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that. I think Molly has one of the coolest moments. I'll probably be talking about it in my my awards, so I'll save that for later.
Yeah, but she's just
okay.
Julie Walters did such a great job with Molly Weasley. She is such a warm person. She's everyone's mom. And the fact that she would just go out of her way to help this kid that she knows has nobody, she can tell is afraid and alone, and she just becomes a mom to Harry because he doesn't have family, so she gives him her family, which is such a beautiful thing. And every single movie, she treats him like her own son. She gives him Christmas presents. She invites him to their house every Christmas. She cares about him. I love. There's a line in Order of the Phoenix when Sirius says, like, Molly, he's not your son, and she says he's as good as. I'm like, oh, my heart. So yeah, the Weasley parents are great people, and I definitely want them in there.
Okay, so Arthur and Molly both make it.
Yeah,
you think? I think Fred and George maybe will come back around to them. Maybe they're maybe.
Yeah, I think so because they're just funny as hell and really responsible for some of the best moments in the franchise.
Yeah, oh yeah, I love when if something horrible happens, they're how are you feeling? Saint like, they just immediately go to humor, and I adore that about them. Well, I've always loved both of them. That family, I just love the Weasley family. I love their connection.
Yeah.
I love how we get, we have, of course, Brendan Gleeson, who plays one of like the most fascinating characters of the whole series franchise. And then his son plays one of Weasleys. That's so fascinating to me. I always loved that. I thought that was like really, really interesting casting because now Domhnall Gleeson has become a nice name.
Yeah, for sure. Bill, another character I wish we'd gotten to see a little bit more. And we never even met Charlie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and these movies aren't short, so it's like, I get it. You don't want to go for fucking 4 hours, but it would be nice, that's why we need these little TV shows. All right. So Arthur is in, Molly is in, that gives us 9 already. Jesus Christ.
Okay. So we got to start being a little bit more selective.
Yeah. Where do you want to go from here?
All right, let's move on to Chamber of Secrets. Talk about some first timers here.
Yes.
Lucius Malfoy.
Man,
one of the best villain introductions I think I've ever seen. Just straight up, just the hair, the cane, the walk, the disdain in his eyes. Immediately you're like, oh, we don't like him. And just the way he treats the Weasleys, the way he looks at Harry of like, you don't even know how strong you are and you don't care. Like, and then the bootlicking to Voldemort. I love Jason Isaacs to death. I think he kills it in this role. I love his chemistry with Daniel Radcliffe and with Tom Felton. I think we gotta put him on there.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way as well. Lucius, he, like you said, that introduction, he represents, the almost better than, he does better than Voldemort. He does this, the pure blood supremacy better than anyone in the entire thing in the movies. He represents this kind of disdain for anyone who isn't just full on magic, isn't full on wizard or witches. I mean, he's like a Nazi type character. He's like a fucking just evil son of a bitch who has his moments of winning, towards the beginning of the series, and then as it goes on, he's just fucking raw. Like I'm telling his hair starts getting all messed up, and his eyes, it's like he hasn't slept in years, and Jason Isaacs the whole time is just fucking outstanding, So I'm with you. I think he takes the 10th spot.
Beautiful. All right. Now, I don't necessarily have him on my list, but I think we do need to talk about him and see if something sparks. Gilderoy Lockhart.
Oh, yeah, I love him. I don't think he makes the cut, but Jesus Christ, what a great like one movie performance from a guy he's like the British, like, oh, I have to be here. I'm like one of the biggest British, movie writer, director, actors. I got to be here. I'm Kenneth motherfucking Branagh. So
he's the 21st century Olivier, and he's like, yeah, I'll play a bumbling fool wizard for one movie. Why not?
Yeah, he's wonderful in Chamber of Secrets. Gives it this really interesting kind of side path. I love when he's in the chamber, he's down in there with them, and has just lost his mind. So yeah, I think he's great. But doesn't quite, have that same impact as some of these others. Yeah. That's a great call. Great call. Gilderoy Lockhart.
I love when he's like, when Ginny's been taken into the chamber and they're all surrounding the like message, and he just walks over like, so sorry, dozed off. What have I missed?
Yeah.
So chipper, like not even aware that anything bad has happened at all. Nobody bothered to call him because they know he's useless.
Yeah, he's just a fucking idiot. Yeah, I love that, and I love how Snape looks at him like, this motherfucker. Like he's got the job I want. Are you kidding me?
Your moment has come at last. My moment.
Yeah. So good.
Okay.
Man. So shit. This is tough.
I have Cornelius Fudge.
I love Cornelius Fudge, but fuck.
I love that Robert Hardy stayed consistent, that he was in, all these movies. At first, he's just kind of warm, he's a politician, so you don't really know if you're supposed to like him, but he seems friendly towards Harry. And then by part 5, he's gone full fucking dictator. It's like, yeah, where did this come from? I love it, but I don't think he needs to be in the Hall of Fame, but worth mentioning. And then I had Dobby.
I think Dobby has a shot here. I think Dobby, I think every one of our characters is going to be human, going to be, a person,
That's fair.
Dobby's like the only creature that I wrote down. And he's so essential. He's so fucking essential to what happens as the series goes along. And his death is one of the most ballsy and kind of heartwarming deaths I've ever seen. And when he finally dies, in Harry's arms, and he's like, it feels good to be with friends, be with my friend Harry Potter, and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, I think Dobby's I think he's a maybe. I think he might make it.
Okay. I agree with you. You talked me into it. I had Aragog written down too, just because he's a big ass spider, and I fucking love Julian Glover. So like, shit, that scene freaks me out every time.
That's such a good scene. Yeah, it Chamber of Secrets has a few moments where you're like, good God, this is not for kids.
Yeah, huge ass spider just being like, hey, sorry, I know you're friends of basically my father, but we're hungry.
Yeah. My daughter, she's 3, and she watched the whole first movie with me and was like pretty engaged, and was like, oh, when it got to the end and there's fire everywhere and Harry's like, she was kind of like, oh no, like had that emotion of like something bad's happening. But in the second movie, she was like, I'm out. This is what the giant snakes, giant spiders. I'm good. This is too much. So she lost interest, and I was like, well, if she doesn't like that one, she's not going to like Azkaban or Goblet, or
she's too young. She's too young. Give it a few more years and try again.
My mistake. One of our good friends, mine and Brianna's friends, Leslie, her son is 3 as well, and he eats these movies up. And I was over at their house the other day watching Goblet of Fire, and he came in the room and he immediately went, Harry Potter? He like knew right away what it was. And I was like, damn, that's cool.
That's great.
Yeah, really cool. He's really into those kind of films, these fantasy adventure type movies. So it can happen, but yeah, my daughter probably needs a few years to enjoy them.
My younger cousins, I have tried so many times. My cousin Brenna got really into Harry Potter, but she's kind of lost steam with it. And then my other cousins, Ryan, Miles, and Scarlett. I bought my cousin Scarlett the books for Christmas because she's reading the books now. She's really into them, so she'll get there. Ryan and Miles could care less. And on like Miles, I tried with Harry Potter. I tried with Star Wars. I tried like Batman. Nothing was taken. He is super into Quentin Tarantino now. So he doesn't care about franchises, but he likes movies. So everybody's got their thing.
I can relate to that. I was like that. I was like that for sure. As a kid, I was never, the only one I was attached to is Lord of the Rings. I've always been attached to those, but Harry Potter, Star Wars, superhero movies. As a kid, I just didn't really care. I found those, when I was a teenager, those filmmakers, those writers / directors were like, these are my people. This is what I like. So it just depends when you find it, when it connects with you. Sometimes sometimes you have to kind of meet it halfway. You have to be willing to meet it halfway. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Like Star Wars has just never worked out for me. I've just never been that into it, and I don't know if it'll ever happen. Maybe it will. I'm open to it, but it's never happened.
One of my biggest fears legitimately is that like one day I will have kids and they're going to be like super into like football. And I'm not going to be able to relate. I'm going to be like trying to show them movies and they're like, another thing. They'll watch a game. They'll be like, this is all I want to do. And I'll be like, no, no. Either I have to get into football or I can't relate to my kids, which I will not let that happen.
That's so great. I think that's a deep fear of a lot of people. Not so much something that specific, but just what if they're into something I know nothing about?
Yeah.
I want that to happen because then I'm hoping it just unveils this whole new world, where, say my daughter gets into ballet. I'm like, I don't know anything about ballet. Let's fucking learn about it. Let's find out who's the best dancer of all time. That's how my mind's always worked, is like, bring it on. I'm open to, I'm open now as an adult to learning stuff, which is why I've accepted Harry Potter. Now I'm pretty into the MCU now, and I'm pretty into what they're doing because of how good the films have been the past few years. So yeah, it can happen. I think people just don't lose that hope. Don't lose that childlike imagination where things latch on.
Good to know. I'm getting closer and closer to finally getting you on the Star Wars train.
We'll see.
I'm gonna try. One day we're gonna have free time. I'm gonna come over and we're gonna at least watch episode 4.
Okay. I mean, I recognize, God, this is for a whole nother episode. But I recognize the greatness from those first 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's 1977. They changed the game. The 80s become this wacky, wild decade of wild genre movies, specifically sci-fi, because of Star Wars. And I love it for that. But it's never been this thing that I'm like amped to talk about what actually happens in the films. I'm more of like what were the repercussions? What was the inspiration from it? I've never been able to just fall in love with, Luke or Princess Leia or Han Solo. I've never fallen in love with those characters. Maybe one day it will happen, man. But you might be the one to spark that. You never know. I've seen them all. I just don't connect. And it doesn't help that the recent ones haven't been my cup of tea at all.
Yeah.
So, that shit happens. All right. Back to Harry.
Yeah. Azkaban. Sirius Black.
Yeah. Fucking shoo-in.
Absolutely. Gary Oldman took this role for 2 reasons. He needed the cash and his kids insisted. But as I think I texted you, like, I don't think this guy knows how to phone it in. He delivers every
it's
single
not
time.
in his nature. Yeah.
No. And he brought such pain and rage to Sirius Black, but then this heartfelt like uncle thing that he got to have with Harry. But you can feel that this man has been, his life was taken from him, and he resents, like, he hates Voldemort more than anybody, except, maybe Harry, of course. But, I wish we'd gotten to see more of that, but just cutting him out in 5 with a sudden death was probably the way to go. It was just, Harry needed that extra push of pain.
Yeah, no, I think if this series, this franchise could do something more to make it more impactful, it's death. Of course we know about Harry's parents dying, but we don't really get to connect with them as characters.
Mm-hmm.
But Sirius dying or Lupin dying at the end, that shit like really matters, because you've grown to know them, you've grown to respect them, and you love those characters. So when they're gone, and Harry's screaming, in pain, and he chases after Bellatrix, you're with him. You're totally with him. I think having him for basically a 3-movie run is one of the smartest things of the whole franchise, whole series, is having Sirius heavily involved in Azkaban. We know a lot of him in Goblet of Fire, where he's very much in kind of our headspace. And then he shows up big time in Order of the Phoenix, and his death is brutal, and that's such an amazing scene. And Gary Oldman, Christ almighty, this guy, he does this, Order of the Phoenix is 2007, fucking Dark Knight's 2008. I think he made his money. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing fine.
Yeah, he's okay now. Yeah. Yeah, and now now he's an Oscar winner. He put together a wonderful 2010s where he had Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, Darkest Hour, and Mank. 3 Oscar nominations for Best Actor. So he's a fucking treasure at this point.
Oh yeah. I think from there we go to Lupin.
Straight up David Thewlis. Yeah. How can we can't have Sirius without Remus.
Harry's greatest teacher. The chemistry between Daniel Radcliffe and David Thewlis in Azkaban is brilliant. It's a perfect mentor-mentee relationship, and Harry learns more about being a wizard from Lupin than he does from anybody. It's great. And the big reveal, he's a fucking werewolf. Fuck yeah. Oh my God. One of the creepiest, most like sickening werewolf designs in movie history. It's this like emaciated corpse with wolf features. It's great. Oh my God. And Sirius trying to be like, the man isn't here. Like, listen to the man. Like, while he's transforming. God damn.
Brilliant touch. Yeah. This is one of the many reasons that Azkaban's my favorite movie. It's just got so many golden moments of like, what the fuck? This is like a really good film. and the book is awesome. When it goes even deeper into, the Marauders map and that connection of those guys as friends, you're like,
yeah,
oh my God, I need a movie of just that, of just them in high school as buddies. Like, those guys are my favorite characters in all of the series.
It's weird if you think about it. I mean, Fred and George had the Marauders map during the events of Sorcerer's Stone. So they saw Quirrell and Voldemort on the same area and like said nothing.
Yeah, Fred and George dropped the ball there. Yeah.
Think about that. Like, the Marauders map opens so many plot holes in the first couple movies.
It does. There are those things in this world where it's like, wait a minute. The effect of the Polyjuice potion is like, hold on, what? How come it affects different people differently? And I don't know.
My biggest one is, if the Reparo spell exists, why does Hogwarts have a janitor? Filch has no function at this school but to make sure kids aren't wandering around at night. That's all he does. He's not fixing anything. He's not cleaning anything.
He just is like this creepy motherfucker who, really the most work he ever gets is when he's just hanging up Dolores Umbridge's fucking rules over and over in Order of the Phoenix. That's like the most work he gets.
Well, it's just funny. Like, this guy has no powers. He's a dick to every student. Like, Dumbledore makes some very odd staff choices. Like, why does he keep this dude around? I don't know. I don't
There's
know.
there's nobody else. Yeah, there's nobody else in the wizarding world that could take that role. Yeah. I don't know.
And then I have Peter Pettigrew.
Jesus, this one's tough. I love Pettigrew to death, but we only have 4 spots left. And we got to get serious.
He's such a slimy, I mean, just, the Gryffindor who betrayed his friends to the Dark Lord. What a bastard of a character, just a horrible human being, and then hiding out as Ron's pet rat for 12 years.
Is crazy.
Oh my God.
That's insanity.
Yeah. So much so he's become like a rat. He just looks like a rat.
Yeah.
Yeah. But his dedication to Voldemort is so pure. It's weird. It's this. I want to know how that happened. Like, how did not just like Voldemort didn't just convince this guy to betray his closest friends. He made him his fucking Renfield. Like, how did that happen? I want that story.
Yeah. Oh man, it opens up the floodgates, right? Of stuff we could just eat up as fans. God, Timothy Spall, man, he's perfect for this role.
Oh, he's such an underrated actor.
No one has that like weird frame, like the stature that he does, where he's kind of hunched over. His work in Goblet of Fire is tremendous. This is tough.
I saw him in Spencer. He has dropped so much weight. Like, he looks almost emaciated now. And he played the royal family's head butler who was constantly telling Diana, like, you shouldn't stand like that. You should stand like a proper lady, if I may. But he was really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He's one of my favorite English character actors, and I always look forward to seeing him in films.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah. I think he's a good call. So do you want to pencil him in, or do you want to?
I think we should throw him on the maybes, because we've got 5 more films to look at, and there are some characters here that I would not forgive myself if they didn't make it in here.
Okay. So who's next on that?
Our bad guy, Lord Voldemort.
Yeah. Yes. It's time.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, if there is a GOAT for this franchise, it's Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah. I think him and Alan Rickman are the guys at the top.
Just the commitment to pure evil that Ralph Fiennes does. The way he moves, almost inhuman. The look in his eyes of absolute just sadism. It's so perfect. He's just an excellent evil monster for Harry to face. And with every movie you see him, he's somehow more frightening. And then at the end, when he's desperate, when he's losing his Horcruxes and he's realizing they're taking I'm going to die. And he just has this desperation about him that makes him even scarier. Props to Rafe 100%.
Yeah. You said it beautifully. I think Rafe is the fucking man. He's got, I believe he's got the Schindler's List nomination. He's got the English Patient nomination. Grand Budapest Hotel, anybody?
In Bruges, Best Supporting Actor, Harry Waters, anybody?
Yeah, come on now. What's going on? No
nomination for an animated.
If Colin Farrell would have been in these movies, that would have been spectacular. Because then we would have had Gleason, Farrell, and Rafe, which would have been so cool. The In Bruges connection. But Voldemort is the man, and the reason we've waited till now to talk about him is because he finally comes to full form in Goblet of Fire at the end. One of the most crucial moments of the series. The way he holds his wand, is I do it all the time. I'm just like, because there's something about him where I'm not. When you start connecting with stuff when you're older, you tend to be more. You're not really rooting for something. You're just kind of watching the stuff unfold. And so when you're like a child, you're like, come on, Harry. But I find myself sometimes like, fuck him up, Voldemort.
Jesus.
Because you're just like Rafe. Rafe is bringing the fucking pain, and there's times where the way he laughs, the maniacal laugh, I'm just like, this is great. I love it. It's like watching the Joker, at work. And sometimes when you're older and you connect with stuff like this franchise type stuff, I love Thanos. I love nasty bad guys who want to destroy everything in their path. And Lord Voldemort is like at the top of that list. So he's for me, if we were just doing this straight up off of sheer power, I think Harry, Ron, or Hermione are the first names I would say, just because they're in the whole fucking thing. I think Lord Voldemort is the next name you talk about. I think Voldemort, he's the reason we're here. He's that motherfucker. He's that dude. He's the guy who split his soul up. He's got the craziest backstories. He has this basically a 70-year run from, I believe he is born in 1926. He dies in 1998. He has this run of the most amazing things you can think of, as a fantasy writer. So JK, if I don't love JK Rowling, but what she did with Lord Voldemort and the implications, and all those things, hats off. This is a wonderful villain. Someone I've always been fascinated by, and the more this stuff goes on, as we get into Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood and Deathly Hallows, he gets better and better and scarier and scarier.
Oh yeah. I think my favorite thing about Voldemort is the brilliant buildup. From the first movie, you're like, there was a dark wizard. He killed your parents. Somehow you defeated him, but we're pretty sure he's not dead. And then he shows up on the back of his teacher's head and he's like, I'm going to come back. And then part 2 is like, his teenage self, ghost, is like, I'm going to come back. Part 3, the servant's like, I'm going to bring him back. And then part 4, he's back. It's so cool. You're kind of hoping like, oh, please don't come back. But you're also like, I really want to see this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. What does he look like? Yeah, in full form. Yeah, that patience, is the greatest feat of Harry Potter. To get into nearly halfway through what we're doing, and then he shows up. Well, really over halfway through, and we finally see him in full form. Just fucking again, just fucking lights up Robert Pattinson. Pettigrew does. He's the one who orders it, and then he's like a fetus, and he just drops in. You're like, ugh, where am I? Yeah, it's so good. Voldemort it absolutely has to be here. He's, like you said, I think Rafe is probably the guy. He's probably the best performer throughout this whole franchise. Him and Alan Rickman, I think, really are the guys going toe to toe.
When you look at it, Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and Emma Watson got the greatest acting class ever for these 10 years of films, working with the greatest actors England has to offer and just learning from these masters. Unbelievable.
Yeah, truly, for a decade. Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah. Speaking of masters, Alistair Moody.
He's one of my guys. I would love to have him on here.
Brendan Gleeson's performance in Goblet of Fire specifically, because he's playing Barty Crouch Jr., playing Mad-Eye Moody, which is fucking beautiful performance. And it stands out. You can see the differences between his performance in that and his performance in Order of the Phoenix. It's like, this is not the same man. It's so, so good. Gleeson does not get enough credit for his skills. And I love him as Moody / Crouch.
Yeah. God, I love Mad Eye. From the moment I see him, clearly drinking polyjuice, you're like, I obviously see what's going on here. That's kind of what's always in the back of your head while watching Goblet of Fire. It's such an incredible kind of plot device. Gleeson's the fucking man, and he dies, at the end.
Yeah.
Towards the end.
Off screen too, which sucks.
Yeah. Which is kind of a ballsy move to show kind of this death, to just to show death in a way where it's like we have to move on. You can't just dwell on it like we have in the past. We have to keep moving forward. We are going to lose bodies in this battle.
It's
we
a
have
war.
to keep moving forward. Yeah, it's
War
just
is
flat
hell.
out.
We don't have time to
Man.
grieve. We lose friends, we lose family, but we got to keep pushing forward or he's going to win.
Yeah, yeah, we can't be weak. Yeah, so crazy.
But Moody's introduction sells it for me when he's having his first class. And he's like, I'm here because Dumbledore asked me to. End of story. Goodbye. The end. Any questions?
Yeah.
He's so aggressive. Like everyone's scared of him. Like he could pop at any moment.
I love how he fucks with Draco, right away. Turns him into a rat. Yeah. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. My father will hear about this. Is that a threat? Starts chasing him.
Yeah, he's a wild card. He's a wild card character that just fucking worked. They just pulled it off in the books and the movies. Gleason's the only guy who could do it.
Yeah, straight up. So I had Cedric Diggory, Victor Crumb, Fleur Delacour. I had Nagini, the snake. But let's get real here.
Yeah.
We're in the how many we got left?
2.
Ooh. Okay. Well, in that case, oh shit. I got 3 from Order of the Phoenix that I was sure were going to be on this. All right.
Okay.
First up, we've got Dolores Umbridge.
Man, I talk about just hating a character. Yeah.
Oh my God. Pure evil. Like a weirder, more specific, darker evil than even Voldemort. It's this, evil disguised as prim and proper nicety, this law and order. It's this like lawful evil thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just, torturing children and creating fake news. And just, it's too real. Voldemort's the climate change of the wizarding world.
Yeah. That's a great way of putting it.
But Imelda Staunton sells it. Like, I'm sure she gets hate mail from people who are like, you're a monster. I feel bad for her, but well done. So I don't know. Like, I fucking hate her, but it's such a great character.
It is a great character. And it is, we're so used to, fucking wands going off and people doing magic. She is someone we hate in the movies, and she represents the type of person we hate in real life.
Yeah. It's Wizard Karen.
Yeah, exactly. And that voice. That voice.
Like little laugh.
Yeah, fuck that laugh. Yeah.
I cheer almost every time in Deathly Hallows Part 1 when Harry's like, you're lying, Dolores, and one mustn't tell lies, and just zaps her. Oh,
so good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's tough. I think. Yeah, I have her down as well. But I'm the same way. I'm kind of looking at my list. I'm like, there's people here that I think deserve it.
Yeah. Next, I've got Luna Lovegood.
I have her next as well. God, she's essential. And the stuff with her dad, yikes, holy shit, some brutal stuff. And Luna is, man, it feels like you could make a movie based around her. It feels like you could do a story like Harry Potter around Luna. She has a grace about her that is kind of infectious and so sweet and tender, but she's powerful. She's so powerful. Under all of that, the really kind of like peaceful type of vibe. She's got some fucking knowledge and some talent to go with it. So Luna's, she might take one of these last 2 spots. I don't know.
She's just such a pure soul and exactly the kind of friend Harry needed at the time. Somebody who understood the death of a family, someone who didn't let it destroy them the way Harry's kind of letting this destroy him. And I think he uses her as a way to kind of bring himself back from the brink. She's perfect. She's like living therapy.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. So let's go ahead and say the rest of the people we talk about are quote unquote maybes, and then we'll
Okay.
just kind of pick two out of that depending on how we feel.
All right, sounds good. Because next up is Bellatrix Lestrange.
Yeah, she's Bellatrix is pure evil. She's one of the most ballsy characters in the whole thing, and she will kill. She kills.
Yeah.
She doesn't care. She's not like, I'm gonna sit here and point my wand at you for 10 minutes while I talk about how I'm going to kill you. She just kills.
Yeah,
And
she's the one who tortured Neville's parents into insanity.
Yes.
And gloats about it. It's even Lucius is like, all right, back off. Like, let's calm down.
And when she sees Neville, she's just like, ha, gotcha, bitch. You're like, what? Like, you're insane. And she kills some big time motherfuckers, you know? She kills Sirius. She angers Harry more than we see, you know, in the whole damn thing. You know, when Sirius dies, the anguish, you know, that she puts him through, and she just disappears, you know, like a coward. Because she knows Voldemort's the one who wants to kill him. Because I personally have always thought that if it weren't for Voldemort and his, you know, his desire and his need to kill Harry, Bellatrix would have given it a few fucking goes. You know, if it was up to her, she would have been like, sure, I'll just throw everything I can at him until something happens.
Yeah, she even says, like, you know, when Voldemort's laying out his plan in Deathly Hallows Part 1, she's like, hey, I'll kill him. Like, let me do it. Let me get him.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll make you proud. And he's
I'd
like,
love
no,
to
no,
kill
no.
the boy. Yeah.
Yeah. Mine. He's mine.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great line. He's like, I admire a passion for blood. He's like, but Harry's mine, you know, and she's just like, oh, she's like a disappointed dog, like that has to just destroy.
Real quick, that breathy, half-dead voice of Voldemort's, like, Jesus Christ, it's bone chilling.
Yeah. Yeah. Harry.
Yeah. Jesus, it's like he's about to have a heart attack.
It's like SpongeBob when he's like, water. I need water. That's Voldemort. Yeah. That's where they got the inspiration. Yeah.
That's perfect. Did you ever read Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, the 8th book?
Yeah. I read that like the day it came out. I was living in St. Louis, Missouri, and I went and bought it at Barnes & Noble because at that point I'd become a big fan of everything. And yeah, I dug it. I haven't read it since, but I dug it.
Well, I just find it interesting that in that we meet Voldemort and Bellatrix's kid.
Ugh,
like
yikes.
they boned. That's canon.
Yeah. I know. And I don't, you know, yeah. I don't even want to think about that. It's just some evil shit going on.
You know what? All right. The rest of from just shout outs. I've got Narcissa Malfoy, Cormac McLaggen, because he's a Gryffindor who's an asshole, and it just makes me wonder, like, how are you here? And Slughorn, of course. Funnily enough, did you know the kid who played Cormac is now Vigilante on the Peacemaker show?
Oh, okay. I like that. Good for him.
Yeah. I was crazy. Deathly Hallows Part 1, I have Xenophilius Lovegood. But
okay.
I don't really care for the character that much. I think he's a two-faced bastard. But I get why he did.
Yeah. I mean, you know, kids, you know, your family will drive you mad.
I don't like the name either. I think Xenophilius is a little much.
It is. Some of the names here are like, okay, we get it, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, JK.
And then Deathly Hallows Part 2, I have Helena Ravenclaw, the Grey Lady, and Griphook the Goblin.
Okay.
So.
Great. Okay.
I say
looks great.
Just because I think it would be nice to fuck her over one more time, let's cut Umbridge out and give it to Luna and Bellatrix.
That's kind of where my mind was going. I think I think it's hard to leave out Draco and Neville.
Yeah.
But I think stronger characters are Luna and Bellatrix. And it's hard to leave out Dobby. It's hard to leave out Dolores, Fred George, Peter Pettigrew. I mean, we could go on for, you know, we could do 40 characters in this thing, but it needs exclusivity. So
yes,
I think I'm with you. I think Bellatrix 100%. Just Helena Bonham Carter belongs in these kind of things, in these kind of worlds. And Luna is unlike anyone we've talked about. So yeah, I'm good with those being the last two.
It's pretty nuts that Helena Bonham Carter wasn't even supposed to play Bellatrix. Like that was a last minute decision.
I read about that, which is like, how is she not one of the first names you thought about? Yeah.
Well, it was Helen McCrory. She was going to be Bellatrix, but she got pregnant and had to bail out. And she called her friend Helena Bonham Carter. Was like, "Hey, can you take this role for me?" And then I can't like, holy shit, I can't imagine anybody else playing Bellatrix. She's so committed to the performance.
Neither can I. She's like born for shit like this. It's one of my favorite things she's ever done. It might be my favorite thing she's ever done. That doesn't happen a lot. Sometimes an actor will have kind of like a standalone type film. Like she's amazing in Fight Club, right? She's amazing in Sweeney Todd. But there's something about Bellatrix that is just tailor made for her, and I love that about it.
I love her, but to me, it's Mrs. Lovett and Sweeney Todd. That's the character that wins for me.
I can't argue that. I fucking love that movie. So yeah, I'm here for that one as well. Quick, a customer. She's amazing. I can't wait to do Sweeney Todd on the show one day. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill these in all. We got our 16. So I'm gonna recap them real quick. We have Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, Hermione Granger, Albus Dumbledore, Severus Snape, Rubeus Hagrid, Minerva McGonagall, Arthur Weasley, Molly Weasley, Lucius Malfoy, Sirius Black, Remus Lupin, Lord Voldemort. So crazy that he's the 13th name. Alistair Mad-Eye Moody, Luna Lovegood, and Bellatrix Lestrange. Whoa.
That's good. That's a good gaggle right there.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I love that group of people. I think the toughest, just off of legacy, Draco obviously so crucial to what happens. And then Neville. What an awesome character and one awesome ride from just complete, outcast dork to fucking destroying a Horcrux. One of the most powerful Horcruxes in the whole thing. Nagini the snake. So such a beautiful moment. I love when he screams at them, "You and whose army?" And they're like, "Oh shit!" And then he's running, and it's like, "That went well." It's a really cool ride for Neville, but I don't think he quite makes the cut. Who does he knock out? Fucking Brendan Gleeson? Come on.
That's what it comes down to for me. Like, who am I willing to cut out to put somebody in? And I'm not willing to cut out anybody.
Neither am I. So yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 students. The 3 main ones in Luna Lovegood, and then the rest are fucking adults. And that's pretty amazing. This children's story about kids growing up and graduating high school, essentially. The ones that really stick out are these adults who are, either evil or they're kind of authority characters or professors, leaders, people to look up to, father figures, mother figures, however you want to phrase it. That's really special that we kind of connect with them that way.
True. I want to live in the wizarding world specifically because all you need to be a teacher is basically just like a high school equivalency. Because there's no wizard college. You just right out the gate, you're like, you can be a cop, you could be a teacher, and that's kind of it, really. There's not really a lot of other jobs.
Yeah. You notice that immediately. You start kind of putting the math together of how old these people would be, and you're like, oh, they became a professor at Hogwarts at age 20.
I could be, nearing retirement by now. Like, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, just a wise, clever wizard. Oh man, that was fun as hell. Definitely have that written down. I have that in my notes now. I have it in my computer. I want to keep that forever. That was a lot of fun. Talking about these characters and what films they pop up in is just a blast. So,
oh yeah.
Hope you guys had fun with us on that one too. But we're gonna keep talking about Deathly Hallows Part 2. So let's keep this train rolling.
Oh yeah.
Anything else to say about the Hall of Fame before we move on?
No, I think it's a good gathering of characters that represent the franchise as a whole and really represents what we get out of this franchise more than anything else is performances and the legacy of these characters. So regardless of whatever the fuck J.K. Rowling says tomorrow, we'll always still have this, and nobody's going to take that away.
Yeah, the joy that we get from it. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, man. These characters are really why you talk about and get lost in it. The characters are so good. The actors are so good. Yeah, that was exactly how I wanted to go. Deathly Hallows Part 2. Nominated 3 times. We've covered this ceremony, the 84th Academy Awards, before. We've done Moneyball. We did Undefeated not that long ago, and I think that might be it from 2011. I'm pretty sure. And we did Moneyball a long time ago.
You mentioned Rango?
Oh yeah, Rango. There you go. Yeah, duh.
There we go.
My favorite movie from that year. Yeah, Rango was. Yeah, I love 2011. There's some great fucking movies at this ceremony. Let's see, but with Deathly Hallows Part 2, we have some kind of technical categories. So we're going to talk about those, have some fun here for a little bit, and then give our own awards out and get the hell out of here. We have Best Visual Effects. Nominated is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Real Steel. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Hell yeah. Transformers Dark of the Moon. And the winner, Hugo. What a weird fucking group.
That is a strange bunch. I forgot about Real Steel.
Me too. And I'm okay with forgetting about it. Yeah.
Robot Rocky. Transformers. All right. Visually, they're stunning, but to me, you need more than good looks to win gold at my Oscars. So I don't think these movies should be here. Transformers should never touch the Oscars.
Yeah, I've always been in the boat that if an aspect of the movie is good, that's fine. But I still think the film needs to be good overall. I still think it needs to be like a winning film. It needs to be a film that will last a long time. I mean, there's probably movies out there that, yeah, sure, visually they're incredible, but do I want to go back? Do I want to rewatch it? Do I want to live in that world? Hell no. Here, Hugo is pretty good. That's the one that wins. But to me, it's a toss up between Potter and Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
I agree. I've seen Hugo. Visually, I don't think it's that incredible. I think it's a decent flick. I don't really get the hype. Apes, though, looks great. But
oh yeah,
Dawn and War look better. Rise still looks a little shiny.
Yes.
So I give the win to Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, I mean they had mastered what they're doing at this point. Voldemort looks perfect. The fucking colors coming out of the wands is spectacular. There's that moment where they're putting all these spells out in over Hogwarts. They're trying to build a force field, and it looks unbelievable. And this is 2011. This is 11 years ago. So I'd give the win slightly to Harry Potter. I've seen all these movies, but I think Potter's kind of hands down the winner.
Yep, I agree. But it is nice knowing we could do Real Steel on this podcast if we wanted to.
Yeah. There's like a list I have somewhere. I think it's this notebook here that I have. I have the movies that I come across. Like Austin Powers was up for an Oscar, and you're like, I mean, that would be pretty funny to do one day. I think Real Steel is in this. They're like a category of the kind of shittiest movies that have ever been nominated for something where it's like, why the fuck was that there? Suicide Squad is another one where it's like, really?
Yeah. I think Caleb's been lobbying for us to do Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa. It was up for makeup.
That'd be great. See, yeah, that's definitely in that category. I'll definitely write that one down. I think there's always at every ceremony there's something that's like, really? Like, really? Out of all the 2011 movies, this is what we're going with. It's awesome. Let's move to Best Makeup next. This is only 3 films. Pretty boring fucking category, if you ask me. You got Albert Nobbs, Harry Potter, and the winner, the Iron Lady. Okay, I guess. Whatever.
Was the makeup to turn Meryl Streep into Margaret Thatcher really that revolutionary? I mean, I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
Whereas,
I'm gonna go ahead and say no on that one, Cotton.
I mean, just like Warwick Davis's makeup for Grip Hook alone is epic. You know, of course, Ray Fiennes' makeup for Voldemort, Hagrid's the whole deal. It blows my mind that there was never a win for the Harry Potter franchise ever.
Sucks.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Especially here, like the Iron Lady, Hugo. Talk about playing it fucking safe in 2011.
Yeah,
Dear God, I don't think there's a single surprise here.
Yeah. No. Yeah. While I love a lot of these movies, I'm like, Hugo wins like 9 awards or some bullshit. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's fine. But you knew that you're not going to really upset anybody. You're going to make people kind of scratch their heads. That's it. And that's no fun. That's no fun.
George Millay is a dick to a child and somehow rediscovers a love for film. There's Hugo. 2 hours of your life. You don't need it.
Yeah, God. Yeah, not really for me. Not a movie I really ever want to do on this show, because I rather do something that's going to kind of split us apart in some way, or we're both just going to be like, fuck yeah, that's kind of where it's the most fun. With Hugo, we're both just kind of like bored. So no thanks.
It does make me laugh how fucking hard it is to split us apart on a movie.
Yeah, it happens. Like, it's happened. This is our 98th episode. It's happened maybe 4 times. So maybe.
Yeah.
Even though the one that stands out is Faces, and then after that, I don't really know where else we kind of just completely differed.
No, we were both on board with Truffaut. Every documentary you've picked has been gold. Like, it's
it's gone well.
We're on the same page pretty universally. Yeah,
that's great. This next category, we can actually talk a bit about these. Best art direction. The artist, that's the best picture winner from this ceremony. Harry Potter, Midnight in Paris, which I really like. I think that's a clever film, really good, and looks beautiful. Warhorse, decent flick, and the winner, Hugo. So obviously Hugo's not our bag, but these other 4, I think we've both seen.
Yeah, I have seen all those films.
Okay, so what do you think about art direction? Obviously, Potter it's always been just like, wow, look at the fucking set. But I think Midnight in Paris is doing something that is just so fucking committed and so cool and so nerdy.
Yeah,
I really respect that. I'm not a big Woody Allen guy, but damn, I like that movie.
It's an endearing film, especially if you're a creative mind. If you love reading and writing, and you imagine, like, what if I could go back and shake Stephen King's hand right as he's publishing Carrie? Like, what if I could do that? And this guy's like, I want to have champagne with Ernest Hemingway. I want to draw a rhinoceros with Salvador Dali. It's a wild movie. Yeah. But it does, it does a great job capturing the look of 1920s Paris. It's really beautiful and committed. So I could back that horse. The artist, again, a very specific look, early 1900s Hollywood. Well done. Admittedly, it's been a minute since I watched The Artist. And then Warhorse is the fields of World War I, the battlefields. Not bad. And then Harry Potter is, Hogwarts and Gringotts and these now iconic locales that were realized. And I got to give this one to Harry Potter as well.
That's fair. Yeah, I've nothing. Yeah, I think it's between that and Midnight in Paris, and I would probably go with Potter as well, especially because of it's not just Deathly Hallows Part 2. It's the whole, all 8 films, what they did with the art direction, specifically with production design. They always, even if if wizard stuff and Hogwarts and all that's not really your bag, that's fine. I understand. It's okay. But how can you not be impressed by the way these look and how fun each little scene and setting is, and just how rich the colors are, or sometimes how dark others are, and I love that about this series and this franchise. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I think this these Potter films, there a lot of them are nominated. I think it's just Chamber of Secrets and Order of the Phoenix that don't get any nominations.
Yep.
But you would love to see at least one win, and it would be cool if it would have been the last one for art direction, where it's like that's where they specialize. But I
mean, technically, Fantastic Beasts has a win for costume design, but that's
we just that's like our Voldemort. Like, no, we don't speak that. No, the movies that must not be named. I do. This might be, to some might be silly, but give me a best supporting nod for Rafe as Voldemort at this ceremony, please.
If Alec Guinness can get a nomination for playing Obi-Wan Kenobi, I don't think it's silly. There's precedent.
And here's the group. It's a good group. Christopher Plummer is the one who won. Rest in peace. Beginners. Kenneth Branagh. Hell yeah. My Week with Marilyn. Jonah Hill for Moneyball. All right. Nick Nolte in Warrior. Okay. All right. And Max von Sydow for Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. It's a good group. But man, Rafe, he's right there with all of them.
Absolutely. I have not seen Beginners, but I've seen the other 4 films. I think you could cut Max von Sydow. I think he's a great actor, but I think you could cut him from that one. Give Rafe Fiennes a nomination. I'm not saying he has to win. It's nice to see Plummer collect one, but
yeah,
Plummer's
great. Yeah, exactly. I think I look at these acting categories and I'm like, yeah, there's some powerful names here, but it doesn't totally mean that they're powerful performances. I love this ceremony. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Moneyball, Tinker, The Descendants, fuck yeah. Midnight in Paris, The Tree of Life.
Grumble.
A Separation, the foreign language film winner, is amazing. Rango. I love A Cat in Paris. I love Chico and Rita. Undefeated is fucking awesome. Paradise Lost. Like, this is a great ceremony.
I agree. I just think, franchises and the Oscars have never meshed all that well. They throw some technical awards at them. Lucas got some big, a nomination for director from Star Wars because that was a revolutionary film. But, you don't see that Marvel getting that kind of love outside of Black Panther. You don't see, Star Trek ever getting any of that. It's rare, and Potter's no exception. And I would argue, these films have emotional stakes. They have, they elicit feelings. Like, they're powerful movies. And I don't like that bias is still happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Has forever. I think we've seen slight changes, but nothing ever drastic. Like Black Panther being up for Best Picture. That's great. But what about all these other movies that are probably better than it in the same kind of genre? So it's just frustrating, I mean, in the same year, Infinity War came out. So Infinity War is clearly the better movie than Black Panther, but you guys just don't really care. You just kind of just go with what you feel, and that's bullshit. Yeah. You gotta really think about this stuff.
They watched 10 minutes of Infinity War, threw the movie a Best Visual Effects nomination like it's a fucking dog biscuit.
Yeah, horse shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's why we do these. That's why we do them. That's why we do these. So it's on movies like this, whether it be a small indie film or something with major IP like Harry Potter, they deserve the time. And always our favorite part of the episode is giving out our awards to a specific film. So that's what we're going to do now. For Deathly Hallows Part 2, we have the Quentin Tarantino Award for Best Quote. We have the Ennio Morricone Award for Best Music Moment. We have the Philip Seymour Hoffman Award for the best performance of the movie. And I have something to say about Philip Seymour Hoffman in a second. Then we have the Roger Deakins Award for best scene in the movie. Philip Seymour Hoffman is probably the only American motherfucker who could be in these movies. And we'd be like, it's fine. Doesn't matter. It's totally cool.
Who would he play?
Oof. I hate to replace somebody, but I do think he'd probably have to be a professor of some sort, someone who understands, kind of all the sides, a Remus type, or a Mad Eye, someone like that. I mean, stop. Just thinking about him as Mad Eye Moody makes me fucking lose my mind. Or he'd be great as a Lucius. He'd be great as a dark motherfucker who just can turn on, on a dime. It'd also be cool to have an American, if he just kept his accent, he kept his American accent, and was this guy who traveled from across the pond, who was like, no, there's more going out there than you fucking know. I think PSH is someone who could fit in, is my main point. I've always thought that. Just look at him, when he wears like in Capote or Doubt, when he has like all black on, you're like, yeah, that guy could be a wizard. Yeah.
I think if he puts on a bit of that Lancaster Dodd charm and has a bit of that accent, a bit of that like Northeastern, educated man vibe, throw that onto a Hogwarts professor, I don't think anyone would bat an eye.
No. Yeah. The way he's talking in The Master,
yeah,
is like Dodd, like you said, is we fought the day and we won. You can't go wrong. I've always thought that. I stand behind JK and Warner Brothers wanting to have all British actors. I like that. I think that's cool. I think that's neat. But man, if there was a guy who could get into that group, it's motherfucking PSH.
That dude could act circles around fucking anybody. He could have been in anything. He could have done anything. And I don't, I like to think he knew that, but I think he was too humble to think that.
Yeah, he was humble and too hungry, like of a performer, to be like, no, like I can do better, so I'll just keep going. Very, very much like Gary Oldman. He just has that like I know I'm awesome, but I'm not gonna fucking act like it. I'm just gonna keep pushing and keep playing more and more characters, whether it be 5 minutes or the whole film. Yeah, those are our guys. All right, your Tarantino. What do you got?
I have 2 lines. My first comes from Snape. It's his last words. As he's, dying from a lot of really rough snake bites and a slit throat, looks like. He turns to Harry and he says, "You have your mother's eyes." And right there in the moment, you're like, oh boy, we don't know the whole story. Like if you hadn't read the books and you're just like experiencing this for the first time, you're thinking that's weird. That seemed awfully heartfelt. Like, I don't know if this guy's really a bad guy. And it's just so touching and such a beautiful scene. Always kind of makes me tear up a little bit.
Yeah. No, I understand that. God damn, Snape. Why do you have to do this like that?
Oh my God. The weird thing is, like, Voldemort only killed Snape because he thought the wand would answer to him now. But then he doesn't even kill Snape. He makes his snake do it. So, like, if you played yourself, as DJ Khaled would say.
Yeah.
Like, now there's, like, if that was the way, you fucked up the lineage. Now nobody gets the wand. Anyway, that always bugged me. And my other line comes from Harry, and it's such a badass line. It's right after he comes back to life, and Voldemort's like, just like super pissed, and all the Death Eaters are leaving, and Voldemort just starts like beating Harry down with his bare hands, which I love. He just hates him so much. And Harry grabs him by the neck and says, "Come on, Tom, let's finish this the way we started it together," and leaps off the fucking tower.
Damn it, that was mine. Because he calls him Tom the way Albus Dumbledore calls him Tom. It's like Harry becomes a fucking man right there. Oh, that's such a good line. Oh my. And that's some cool shit, because they're like fucking falling and their faces kind of fucking become the same, and you're like, oh, this is weird. Good visual effects right there.
Yeah, right there. But I just love that, Harry grabs him and is like, "We're going down together, motherfucker." Like, this is ride or die, and leaps off the fucking tower. Like, and Voldemort's look in his face. He's like, "I fucking hate you so much."
Awesome.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, that's definitely my number one kind of just straight up quote from this movie. But there's so many, I'm on IMDb scrolling through and I'm just like, oh my god, like every single one is so fucking awesome.
My favorites is with Aberforth. Shout out to Kieran Hines, who always reliable.
Yes.
Starts giving Harry shit about like, do you even know Dumbledore? Like, who would embark on a quest for finding Horcruxes without knowing where to start? He used you. And Harry's like, I don't care what happened between you and your brother. I trusted the man I knew. Like, oh, dude. God, these movies mean so much to me.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful stuff. I love that. I love thinking about Dumbledore, his brother. You're like, oh shit, there's always doors that are opening, in this world that are like, I want to know more. One of my favorite dark ones from Voldemort, because he has some stuff, like, from this day forth, put your faith in me. So badass. I love when his voice is going through the school and he's like, I know that many of you want to fight. Some of you may even think that to fight is wise, but this is folly. Give me Harry Potter. Do this and none shall be harmed. Give me Harry Potter and I shall leave Hogwarts untouched. Give me Harry Potter, you'll be rewarded. You have 1 hour. If I were a student there, I'd be like, fucking say less.
This is your first year and you're like, I was on my way to Charms class. What is happening right now?
Here's me and my friend, we wrote a bunch of ideas down. I lost the notebook, but I think I could do it all from memory, because we had this idea of almost like a spin-off of Hogwarts. Obviously you can't actually make it because you need the rights, but it was just fun to fuck around doing a spin-off around, because like in those dorms, it seems like there's like 4 kids in like one of those dorms. What if it was 4 normal fuckers who are just like, God, that Harry guy's a bitch, like he gets everything.
That's a great idea.
Like, where are the kids who are like smoking weed? Where are the kids who are like, man, I can't fucking ride my broomstick. This sucks. Like, I'm not good at Quidditch. I'm just a kid who's like making B's and C's, like just some kid who's just there, who doesn't become this chosen one or isn't the chosen one's best friend. You're just a student who probably doesn't have a future in wizarding. You're just there. Like, where's the story about those guys?
The fucking Van Wilder of Hogwarts. I would watch that. That's awesome.
I would love that if they were just like in Hufflepuff. They're like, no one ever fucking talks about Hufflepuff, man. Like, we suck.
I would love that. Like, like every time like a major event happens in Hogwarts, it's like, what is it from their perspective? Like, they're just eating and all of a sudden troll in the dungeon, and they're like,
yeah,
oh Jesus Christ, here we go.
It's gotta be that Harry fuck. Yeah. yeah. I'm so curious.
I saw a meme that said, like, I wonder what is happening at Hogwarts right now. And somebody posted probably education, since Harry doesn't go there anymore.
Yeah, they're probably getting stuff done. Yeah, because Harry never could sit in class for more than 2 seconds without something crazy happening. Yeah, I've always thought that, like, that would be really cool if there was even a standalone movie about 4 guys who were, 6th or 7th year students at Hogwarts, while Harry's like in his 2nd or 3rd year, and it's like they're just there. They just go to school, and they're not like they're not anything special,
Like at the end of Chamber of Secrets, when they cancel the final test, there's one kid who's like, I need that for my application to Horror Academy. Like, what am I going to do about this?
Yeah. Are you fucking serious? Yeah. Like, this is my last year. Yeah.
He has to fill out a form. We just follow this guy's like bureaucratic journey as he like fills out this form, has to mail it with this certain owl to this place. And he's like, he hasn't heard back in 3 days. They said it would be 2.
Bam. There you go. I'd watch that shit in a heartbeat.
They kind of did that with Star Trek. Like, about that?
You can do it. You can do it with this kind of IP.
That's a great idea. You should pitch that to fucking Warner Brothers. You could probably sell that.
He's so awesome. I would love. There's so many things that are fascinating from this world that are untouched. untapped. And I think it's a complete gold mine that HBO Max should fucking hop on.
They really should. You'd think with like the reunion special they just did and Fantastic Beasts kind of faltering, they're going to need some Harry Potter stuff just to keep keep it relevant. So maybe they'll do this. I'm sure they're going to cut J.K. Rowling out somehow. But
if you keep kids interested, you'll live on forever. And Star Wars, they recognize that. Marvel recognizes that. They see, all right, if we keep doing this, and if a 10-year-old watches fucking, Black Panther, they're like, well, I want to know all the other stuff. So they go back and they watch the old stuff, and now they're on board for the new stuff. That's how it works. And with Harry Potter, it's scary because you're like, if you're a kid and you watch these new films, these Fantastic Beast films, you might just give up. That's fucking sad. They should have other avenues where they could watch things, watch a TV show specifically about Quidditch matches where we get a Quidditch action. And then maybe kids are like, oh, I want to go back now and watch the films. I want to watch Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets. I want to go back.
I would watch the shit out of a like Friday Night Lights style show about the Quidditch coach. Yeah.
There's not nearly enough about Quidditch in these movies. I think we get a really good Quidditch match in Chamber, where it's like intense and you got stuff chasing after Harry, trying to take him out. Like, man, why isn't there more Quidditch? Why is Quidditch is such a fucking cool idea and cool game? There should be more of this. I would watch, even if it were made up, I would watch an hour and a half, 2-hour match of Quidditch. Even if it was just bullshit and it was made and it didn't matter, I would still watch it as if it were a live fucking basketball game. I think it has that kind of entertainment value.
When you're something kind of sad, my college, Texas State, has a Quidditch team.
Yeah, no, a lot of colleges have like intramural Quidditch, and it's like, well, but not really because you're not flying. So
you're galloping around on a broom, basically playing soccer.
It's
ridiculous. I watched it once, and whatever. I'm a nerd, but let's calm down.
Yeah, this is bad. Yeah, this is not it. This is not the answer, guys. Just go watch the movies. God damn. That's funny. All right, that's great. Out of all that, is the just Tarantino talk. So we basically came with the same Tarantino, and that's wonderful. But yeah, like I said, there's a bunch of shit I love from the screenplay, from the source material. Ennio Morricone. This is actually score composed by not John Williams. Yeah. What do you think about that change to a different composer? Because John Williams, obviously at the very beginning, he has the iconic where exactly where you're at, and John Williams is putting in some of his best work ever. And we go all the way to Deathly Hallows Part 2, and it's a completely different guy.
Yeah, Williams composed the first three, laid the foundation, and then I don't know who composed Goblet of Fire or Order of the Phoenix. I know Half-Blood Prince was Nicholas Hooper, and Deathly Hallows was Alexandre Desplat.
Yes.
I love Williams. I think Desplat has my favorite music of the Harry Potter franchise.
Okay, let's hear it.
Lily's theme. That's what it's called.
Man. Yes. Yes.
It opens the movie. It's just this ethereal chant over very minimal music. And it's representing, Lily and just kind of her ghost kind of watching over all this. And it plays at the end when Voldemort crumbles. It's like, justice for Lily almost. And it's such a beautiful bit of music, but it has this finality to it. Like, you made it, like you stuck by it for 10 years. This is the end. Thanks for the memories. It's such a beautiful piece of music, and I adore it.
Yeah, it's like this kind of buckle up. You still have 2 hours, but you're here. You're at the finish line. You're at the finish line. All you got to do is cross it.
This should have been up for score 100%.
Yeah, and Alexandra, this is a guy who knows what's up when it comes to being at the Oscars. This is someone who's worked with a bunch of amazing filmmakers. So yeah, I'm with you. I think the score is incredible. My favorite piece of the score, I think the best piece of the score is Lily's theme. But my favorite kind of like quirky, different kind of unusual tone for even the Harry Potter films is the track Green Gots, which is of course when they go to the bank. It's got like weird strings in it. It's got this kind of odd undertone, and then it gets exciting at the end because we're seeing them do something really amazing and really essential to the story. And when I was watching it, I was watching it last night, and I was like, man, that's Alexander. That's his touch. He's not just doing the Harry Potter thing. He's kind of saying, no, like, I'm going to bring my own flair to these films. And what a ballsy thing to do.
Yeah.
You're fucking with some amazing composers, and most importantly, John Williams. And you're trying to change the way we hear things in the last movie. How last two movies, so ballsy, and I love it from him. I've been a big fan of his for a long time. So I think the score is incredible and always gets me going. There's multiple ones that I really like off this score, but if I had to pick just a pure favorite, it's Green Gods.
That's a good shout. I have a soft spot for it's called Courtyard Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Just kind of going through the courtyard, trying to get to the edge, and Aberforth lets out that giant Patronus and saves the day. And it's just he does care.
Yeah, beautiful. So fucking cool, man. Yeah, this is great. I'm having a blast. I don't want to end. Philip Seymour Hoffman Award. Who is it?
First thing I wrote down, as I said at the top of this episode, the GOAT of Harry Potter is Ralph Fiennes.
That's what I wrote down as well. He is a master in this movie.
So perfect. It's such a perfect, committed, frightening performance, but you can tell he is having so much fun. Yep. He is hamming this shit up to 11, and he does not care. He is so happy to just get to be this monster. Just the way he yells his spells, it's this like giant like bellow as he casts his spell. He never whispers anything.
God, Rafe, if anyone is going to get a PSH just like that from both of us, it's this guy for this character. There was no question in my mind either from right from the get-go. In other movies, oh yeah, there's because he's not in all of them, but this is his chance to really, really shine.
Yeah,
and boy, does he do just that. When one of my favorite moments is when he realizes Harry's alive. His reaction is, he's startled, but he's like just goes right back to square one of being fucking angry, and just like, oh shit, I was in total control for a second, like I want to be, and now I'm not, motherfucker. So he's like, I have to, and he starts fucking blasting him, and things are on fire, and again, just the way he walks, the way he carries himself, the way he carries the wand is all kind of at the forefront of this movie. We really get that full Voldemort effect. So had to go Rafe. I don't even know who the fuck would be second place. Maybe Daniel Radcliffe. And I mean, he's amazing in this one. Harry's got a lot to handle, but Rafe is so clearly the best performer in this movie.
Well, this is a Voldemort who believes himself to be as strong as he's ever been. He has the Elder Wand. He's like, I am a god, and I'm gonna fuck up these people. It's great. And then just watching him lose control of the situation is so satisfying, especially right before that, when he's like, giving Neville the business, and Neville interrupts him, and Voldemort has this like you don't interrupt the Dark Lord look on his face, but he's like, all right, what do you got to say? It gives him a shot. I just love that. Like, he clenches his fist. He's like, you son of a bitch. That weird little awkward hug he gives Draco because he doesn't know how to show emotion. Like, he doesn't know affection. He doesn't know what it looks like. It's great. That was improvised by Rafe. I love that. He wasn't supposed to hug Tom Felton, and Tom Felton's literally like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Rafe is hugging me. Someone please give me some water. Yeah. It's such a brilliant. It's a showcase. It's a pure showcase from him, and Yeah, I had. Yeah, I'm like you. I kind of wrote it down before the movie even started.
Yeah, I was like, no one's gonna change my mind on this one.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Roger Deakins Award. What's the best moment of this movie?
This changed 3 times. I I had the what was it? The resurrection stone scene. When Harry finally gets to talk to his parents. I had that. Then I changed it to the Harry walking into the woods and facing Voldemort. But I had it as Neville killing the snake. Like I kept changing it, and then I realized, no, there's one moment in this movie that may be the best moment in the franchise. A moment I cheered in the theater. When it happens, I was like, yes. And I don't do that. I'm very quiet in a movie theater. But I had a moment of like, I lost control. I was like, yeah. And that is when Molly Weasley blasts apart Bellatrix Lestrange.
Yes.
Not my daughter, you bitch. One of the best lines ever written. Oh my God.
Yeah, because it's Molly. It's Molly saying a curse word. It's great. It's such a great moment. Yeah, I put that down as well. I love that bit. It's two of my favorite characters of the series, and two very, very powerful female characters. I think it's just such a cool moment. I think everything around it is that last 20 minutes is just glorious. Is so breathtaking and so rewarding as someone who if you go through the series, if you go through the books and the movies, whatever it is, you're just like, you're there, you're in it, and it's coming to an end, so you're sad, but you're also like, there's unfinished business here. It was between that moment where she says, "Not my daughter, you bitch," and the moment where Voldemort and Harry are just rapid fire on those stairs, and you're like, holy shit, this is why you watch.
Voldemort's just blasting the killing curse. He's not even not even thinking, just like
yeah, and Harry's just just blocking it, fucking firing back at him. I mean, that wizard magic shit is, if you really, really like Harry Potter, chances are that's why you watch. You watch Game of Thrones for the swords and the fucking dragons. You watch Lord of the Rings for the incredible journey of all these different characters fighting orcs. Like, fuck yeah. You watch Harry Potter. You watch Star Wars for the lightsabers. You know that there's always something for the nerds who really like it. This is why you watch. And when those two are going toe to toe, two of the most powerful wizards of all time, it's like, what more can you ask for? It's a great showdown. So I love that. And I love when Neville kills Nagini. I love that moment. Like, it's slow-mo and he, boom, slices it with the sword, the Gryffindor sword. Beautiful, beautiful stuff.
It's, another moment that's kind of, built up over the course of the franchise. This idea that only a true Gryffindor can pull the sword from that hat. Only somebody who is worthy to handle that sword. And with Neville, it was like, no question about it. The sword was like, you have earned it, kid.
Yeah. You've taken some shit.
Use it well.
Yeah. Kill at will, my friend. Yeah. And Neville, you deserve to just kind of let loose a little bit. Yeah, all that stuff. I love all that stuff. I think that there's a run there. There's a run of about 10 or 20 minutes, whatever. That's just like, whoa, oh, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. It just keeps kind of escalating to just these brilliant moments. And I love when you have the moment where Harry, I almost wrote this down because it's just such a fucking mature decision. When he throws the Elder Wand, he breaks it, throws it. I fucking love that shit. I think it's so cool from Harry to be like, nah, I don't need this. Like, I don't need it. And Ron's like, we could be untouchable. It's like, I already am untouchable, bitch.
I do love that moment where Ron's like, we could conquer the world. Like, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, out of left field, full fucking conqueror vibe from Ron. Does Hermione shoot him like, dude, what the fuck? Kind of look. And Harry's like, I have survived the killing curse twice. I just destroyed the worst dark wizard who ever lived. I'm good.
Yeah. I want to live a semi-normal life. And then we get the strange 19-year later thing. Why 19 years? I don't know. Why not make it 20? And then we have him sending off his son, which is such a cool moment because he's like, Albus Severus Potter. I named you after two headmasters. One of them was in Slytherin, and he's the bravest man I've ever known. Like, oh my God. It's just such a sweet moment.
Two things. One, I love that the kid who plays Albus Severus was the same kid who played the baby that was dropped at the Dursleys' doorstep in Sorcerer's Stone. I love that.
Isn't that incredible? Yeah.
That's so neat. And also, I saw a recreation of this scene where he's like, Harry Potter Jr., you were named after the bravest man I've ever known. It was me. I killed Voldemort. It was so self-serving, but it made me laugh.
That's so awesome. Oh, yeah, I love that. It's a good ending.
It is.
And you're left with 8 movies that fucking kick ass. So
I do love that, like, Draco's there with his kid, and I remember thinking, like, I guess there's no Hague in the wizarding world because this motherfucker would be on trial for war crimes.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
How did he scoot by? Like, how is he not in Azkaban with a life sentence?
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, when Hitler was removed from power, it's not like a lot of Nazis got to just hang around Germany and go back to school and shit. They were rounded up.
Yeah, they were taken care of. Yeah. yeah, straight up. That's always confused me. There are those, there's some stuff, right, that doesn't quite add up. But, what are you going to do? I mean, I rather not harp on that and give this world, this franchise shit, than hold on to the things that are really brilliant. And the things that do make sense and do add up and are really cool. And the characters, the characters are what I hold on to most.
Absolutely. I mean, one of my favorite little moments about the finale, the epilogue, is the fucking chocolate frog coming back. It's like, I've heard, somebody confirmed that was the same chocolate frog. I also love that, like, everyone's under heavy makeup and it looks like they just gave Ron a fake gut.
Yeah.
But whatever. I'll take it. Nothing's gonna dampen my spirits on this movie. I don't care.
No, it's a short bit too. The most important thing is hearing that line, Albus Severus Potter, when he says the name of his son.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh man, they live on forever. Dumbledore and Snape live on forever.
It's not mentioned in the movie, but his other son is James Sirius Potter.
Yeah, which is so kick ass. Yeah,
I think the daughter is Luna Lily Potter. By the way,
yeah. I would like if he had a 4th kid, name him Remus. Remus is there too. Remus Mad Eye Potter. I don't know.
Maybe Alistair before Mad Eye. That would be funny. Probably a Dobby Potter.
Dobby Potter. That's his dog. Yeah, Dobby.
We named the dog Dobby.
Yeah, Dobby the dog. That's great. Yeah, I think this is one of those episodes where it's something that we there's so much to say and so much to unpack, and we could go on for 9 hours. I really do think we could go there, but at some point, all things have to come to an end, and this is special. This is really cool. It feels right. I feel like I've properly stated how I feel about this franchise and just kind of what it means, kind of in my heart and my mind. And it's definitely staying. It's not going anywhere. So this is a blast.
I love this franchise to death. This is the only 10 I have given in the franchise.
Yeah, go down your
okay.
Because mine's easy. It's all 8s and then 1 9 for Azkaban.
Sorcerer's Stone, 8. Chamber of Secrets, 8. Azkaban, 9. Goblet of Fire, 9. Order of the Phoenix, 8. Half-Blood Prince, 8. Deathly Hallows Part 1, 8. Deathly Hallows Part 2, 10.
Okay, so you have a 10, a 9, a bunch of 8s. Oh, you have 2 9s.
2 9s. Azkaban and Goblet are 9s.
Yeah, that's a good little stretch right there. Azkaban and Goblet's a good one too. You can't go wrong there. So I have no qualms with that. This is cool as shit, man. So tomorrow, one of the other reasons we did this is because tomorrow you guys will be talking about Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore on sneak preview. That'll be you and Caleb, I imagine. So, be on the lookout for that. And, you're going to hear other stuff. Just talk about what's going on in the movie world. Wednesday, this is fantastic. We have Face Off, which is one of the wackiest, most awesome movies of all time for episode 185 of Filmgazm. So that's, definitely keep your eyes out for that one. That's going to be a fun episode. And then on Friday, Beyond the Bad is next. Beyond the Bad just never ceases to amaze me with the choices. It's so awesome.
He is constantly thinking outside the box. And yeah, we wanted to do one of Nicolas Cage's quote unquote, paycheck gigs. And we had quite a lot to pick from. So Caleb went with next, one that we both haven't seen. So we're going in blind.
Perfect. That's great. And then if we hadn't just done Leaving Las Vegas just, I don't know, a few months ago, we would be doing some kind of Nicolas Cage action on Oscar Sunday. But there's also another film coming out next week. A little film called The Northman, directed by Robert Eggers. Just one of my favorite dudes in the game right now. Director of The Witch and The Lighthouse. So next week on Oscar Sunday for episode 99, we will be talking about The Lighthouse and talking about the 92nd Academy Awards, talking about Pattinson, Dafoe, and just how fucking amazing that movie is. The Northman, can't wait to see that. I'll definitely be trying to see that one and The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent in theaters. I love Nicky Cage to death, but The Northman, when I see that trailer, and I'm not even a big trailer guy, when I see that trailer, I'm like, this is for me. And so I absolutely have to see that movie. It just looks so fucking gritty and so nasty and has some of my favorite actors of all time. So I will be making my way to the theater for that. So we got kind of like a Cage Eggers like mashup week coming, which is like, come on, like what more can you ask for?
I have no clue how I'm going to structure that sneak preview because usually we pick one and we roll with it, but both these films are huge. So I don't know.
Yeah. It's a Cage movie, Cage playing Cage and Eggers, one of the best up and coming directors, that we know of.
I think he's here. I think the up and coming's over. He's here.
I think a third film is the okay. All right. Like I think here's an example that I think you'll agree with. Jordan Peele. He's got to reel us back. I'm not a big, I love Get Out, not a big fan of Us. Nope, like needs to bring us back. Ari Aster, Hereditary, incredible. Midsommar, a lot of people love, a lot of people are like, what the fuck is that? So I think he also has to reel us back. I think a third film is kind of where you see, okay, you got it. Now for me, Eggers, The Witch and The Lighthouse, both fucking great movies. Love them both. They're both, completely different, but have this tone that is so unsettling. I'm all about it. But I do think a third film is huge for a director, someone who's kind of taking on the writing and directing and wants to be an auteur type. What the great Wes Anderson, he did Ball Rocket. Some people are like, whatever. Rushmore, okay, all right, and then Royal Tenenbaums, okay, we're good. You're good. You're here. I think a third film is always essential.
Okay. However, Pulp Fiction was Tarantino's second film.
Yeah, no. Sometimes your best movie is your first or second movie. I think our guy Michael Mann, Thief. I think Thief is his best movie. I think he's still trying to figure that out. Paul Thomas Anderson, Boogie Nights might be his best movie. I think some people, The Lighthouse might be Eggers' best movie, which I don't want to believe that, but it could be.
I'm excited for The Northman, but I think I'm more excited for his next movie, which is that Nosferatu remake he's been trying to get off the ground.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
But we'll talk about that next week. I'm excited to do Lighthouse. Yeah, this will be fun to revisit.
Yeah, it's been out for 3 years now. So yeah, it'll be cool to kind of you and I saw that in theaters and we were like, what? But we knew we loved it, and we knew we had a lot of fun and we loved those actors. So yeah, I can't wait to talk about that next week. But for now, keep looking out for what we're doing. Got a fun week ahead. Follow us on, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Filmgazm, and keep watching movies.
Mischief managed.